Ah, crap, I was muted! Okay, so the only things I said was I was laughing at what Ruby said, and then I said, it's funny how you didn't tell me to open my eyes. That's interesting. And then I told Phoenix that I am saving you from brain rot, so you're welcome. Now we're in. Okay. Time for nothing. Nothing ever happens. Nothing ever happens. Can you believe it, guys? Christmas, just a week away. It won't even be that good. It won't even be that good. It's gonna be alright. Alright, I wanted to say, if it has nothing to do with Rosa, I'm not crying. Nothing is going to make you cry in this game if it's not involving Rosa. Anyways, I was gonna say, before we start, that episode 4, specifically the ending of episode 4, made me absolutely positively convinced that Butler, I don't know about alive, but that Butler did also stay on the island with Eva. If he's still alive, I don't know, but he definitely stayed on the island. Because episode 4 ended with him being abandoned on the island, right? And then the game specifically made a point to not go back to check up on him. We just focus on our meta battler and Angie and Beatrice and Maria in the Golden Land after that. We never went back to Ronkenjima to look at him being alone on the island. So it's like they're specifically trying not to bring attention to the fact that he was left alone. So I am very convinced that he was left alone on the island. Well, with Eva. Anyways, if he's alive, that's just my headcanon. We don't know. But yeah. Anyways, we're starting. We're starting. Gonna have to go get more water later. Tea party, please pull up a seat and wind down. Was your sojourn at Ronkenjima a pleasant one? The Golden Witch has gifted you with an invitation to her tea party. I hope that you will participate. The second day, October 5th, 1986. I'm holding back my laugh right now until I see him. What is happening? I don't have a clue what's going on. Please, someone explain in a way even I can understand what happened yesterday. I was in the kitchen of this mansion grabbing some food without permission. If you open up the massive business class refrigerator, you can find anything. You can eat and drink as much as you like. Even if the typhoon didn't clear up for a week, I'd have more than enough to eat. Okay, I was gonna wait for him to show up to laugh, but my laugh is gone now because they took too long. It's very funny that I started, the stream saying, oh, they made a point of not checking in on Butler again after leaving him alone, and now we're here with Butler. It's very funny. I was more convinced that he was left alone when we didn't check off on him. Now that they're making a point of looking at him, now it's like they're trying to lie to me, perhaps. But no, even before that, I was still thinking that he was on the island, right? So I'm still gonna say so, but I am on the fence. It's almost like Ryukishi's in your room. Gulp. With wine in one hand, I was helping myself to some dry cured ham. I wonder just how expensive this wine and ham are. You ingredients are out of luck too. If only you had Goda-san to cook you, you could have been reborn as much more incredible food. I looked at the clock. Very soon it would be 24 o'clock. October 5, the second day, would end. The insane October 4 yesterday seemed like a lie. That's how much nothing had happened after that last thing, that test thing. Nothing happened. Nothing ever happens. It must have been the wind. No phone call came and no letters came. No person came and no one attacked me. This game buds. Also, it is just a fact that Eva survived, right? So everything that's happening right here, we need to, like, in reality, in the non-meta scenario, Eva is also here, or just in this existence. Anyways, don't matter. Nothing happened at all. I want to keep demanding a refund on all the time and energy that tension stole from me. Because after that, for an entire day, a full 24 hours, nothing happened. So surely, nothing's gonna happen now. A full 24 hours ago, Beatrice called me to the spot in front of the mansion's entrance. There I was given a strange test to determine the successor to the headship or whatever. I gave a serious answer in my own way, but it was somehow hadn't meshed with the other side. Beatrice got pissed for no reason and fell silent. I yelled at her to try and say something, but she gave no answer. When I asked where Maria was, she just told me to go to the chapel and left. To tell the truth, it was an anticlimax. No matter what kind of weird test you give, at least tell me whether I passed or failed. Are you trying to say thanks for coming, your results will be mailed to you later or something? Quit messing with me. Anyway, I then headed to the chapel. After failing their tests, both George, Aniki, and Jessica were killed. I couldn't let Maria get killed too. Also, I might get a chance to catch some person trying to kill her. As a little kid, I often heard from Jessica that you'd get in trouble if you went near the chapel. Wait! I don't know, I don't care and I'm confused. Wasn't the picture in Kumasawa's son's house what we're seeing right now? A lion statue, but they said it was the entrance to Kuwadorian, not that it was the entrance to the chapel. Unless I am misremembering that and it was a picture of the chapel. I don't really want an answer, I don't really care, it don't matter. I'm just confused and I have confused myself if the picture in his house was of Kuwadorian and the chapel also has a similar entrance, or if the picture was of the chapel and we're at the chapel and that's it. But it don't matter, I don't care. As a little kid, I often heard from Jessica that you get in trouble if you went near the chapel. So I never been there, but I at least knew where it was. Ruby. Not right now. I couldn't find any trace of a person there, but there was a key bundle lying in front of the door. I thought this might be someone telling me to open the door, but after trying all the keys I found that none of them fit. I also called Maria's name, but there was no answer whatsoever. I searched around the chapel, but there was a limit to what I could do in the pitch black with just a flashlight. I realized that this key bundle might be a set of master keys which could make it possible to open the door to the mansion. I found no sign of Maria, so I returned to the mansion. The mansion was wrapped in silence, and in a horrible stench. However, it's amazing how good humans are at adapting. The inside of the mansion must still be wrapped up in that smell. However, I grew completely used to it and stopped minding it. It didn't seem any worse than any old house where someone had burnt some meat. At first I was bewildered by the stench, but I decided to head to the dining hall for the time being. And found those corpses that were so pitiful. Goda-san and the rest had hesitated to speak of them in detail. No tips! Ushiramiya Natsuhi. Corpse discovered in the dining hall. Her head was half destroyed. It seems reasonable to think that she was murdered with something like a powerful gun. However, the witnesses don't believe that she was killed with a gun. Ushiramiya Eva. Corpse discovered in the dining hall. Her head was half destroyed. It seems reasonable to think that she was murdered with something like a powerful gun. However, yada yada yada. Ushiramiya Hideyoshi. Corpse discovered in the dining hall. Ushiramiya Ushimiya George. Corpse discovered by the rose garden. I read this already, but I'm gonna read it again. Corpse discovered by the rose garden arbor. There was a single hole right in the center of his forehead. It seems reasonable to think that he was shot with a gun or something. It was a brand of humiliation marking his loss to Gap. Ushimiya Rudolph. Corpse discovered by the Ushimiya Rosa. Corpse discovered in the dining hall. Her head was half destroyed. It seems reasonable to think that she was murdered with something like a powerful gun. However, Runoe Genji. Oh, we haven't seen Jessica's corpse. Corpse discovered in the dining hall. Batsuhi. Meow. Tatsuhi. I don't care anymore, okay? I just don't care anymore. She's washed. Don't matter. I'm over it. Maybe in some time she'll be removed from my character list, but I do tend to like a lot of forgettable and nothing burger characters anyways, so she might survive. I'm eating my meal. I'm feasting like a queen watching them. Okay, I am the jester. It was the remains of Aunt Natsuhi and the others who would become the first victims. What does that mean? I'm not making this a gesture? I think... Don't take that away from me. I think I'm a good clown. Half of each head had been completely split open. And it was so gruesome that even without knowing a thing about examining corpses, I could say that they were 100% dead. Are you sure about that? And on top of that, the remaining halves of their faces were left like normal, so it was even easy to identify them. Oh, you're damn the best jester so far. Neither of your comments feel good to me. Really convenient corpses these were. And in addition to those 6 bodies was one more. The 7th corpse was Maria. Ushimiya Maria. What? No injuries. Corpse discovered in the dining hall, unable to locate any notable external wounds. Butler speculates that it may have been some type of poisoning, the most peaceful method of inviting a person to the Golden Land. That's a Breaking Bad reference. The 7th corpse was Maria. She lay next to Aunt Rosa, as though sleeping alongside her. I cried. At the death of an innocent young girl, and at the cruel way my dad and the rest had died. I raced through the mansion swinging the hat-stand spear, yelling, "Come out here, bastard!" But I couldn't find any trace of anyone else. Thinking they might be planning to hide somewhere and attack me from behind, I went around searching for hiding places, sometimes growing more cautious, and sometimes intentionally letting my guard down in various ways, but in the end, not even a kitten appeared. Meow meow. Then, morning came. My tension and fatigue combined with my drowsiness making for the worst kind of dawn. Humans are pretty incredible. Even when the murderer might be hiding somewhere, we prioritize drowsiness and fatigue over our own lives. By that time, I was starting to feel pretty ridiculous. After all, for a full 6 hours before dawn, I walked around the mansion yelling at the culprits to show themselves. My search had been a careful one, and I tired myself out and let my guard down. Even so, no one came to attack me. Basically, I lost patience with them and figured they could do whatever the hell they wanted. The boat won't come until the typhoon passes. They said on TV that it won't pass until tomorrow, so I've got another full day today. Umifuo heard me enough how I love this part, because imagine how insane this is. Just walking alone, everyone did was... Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Last stream when he was left alone, just... I was mad that they didn't cut back to Butler after Beatrice left him, because it was like... At the same time, I was happy that it didn't come back to it, because truly leaving him truly alone, where that not even the audience gets to see him, it was pretty cool. Because he was truly left alone. And it rules, because if the story is correct that he left Sayo alone all those years ago. You know, it's karma, it's karmatic, it fits, it's thematic. Lazying about lost his interest, and even though I knew it would probably make the police mad, I decided to play detective a bit. First was the dining hall, where the very first murder had occurred. The 6 who had been killed in the beginning really were pitiful. The weapon used was probably a gun. Maybe their heads were split by something powerful like a magnum bullet or a shotgun. It was a reasonable theory to hold. Compared to that, the 7th corpse, Maria, had died in a much better and cleaner way. At a glance, I could see no external wounds and didn't understand how she'd been killed. But by her mouth were traces of bubbles that she might have spat out. It's a Danganronpa reference. And it looked like a typical death by poisoning that you might see in a TV drama. Wasn't Maria called out to the chapel and given a test? So why was she in the corpse-filled dining hall lying next to her mother dead? Even if the cause of death was poison, who gave it to her? Her clothes weren't disturbed at all. It's hard to imagine how she was forcefully pushed down and given an injection of poison. It's probably better to assume that she was given a capsule of poison or something and made to swallow it. But compared to the scattered and violently mutilated corpses in the room, Maria's corpse was too clean. If they had a gun, they only needed to pull the trigger. But poisoning, whether by having her drink it or by an injection, would take a lot of effort. Considering the culprit's brutal nature, you'd think Maria's death alone was given special treatment. Why was only Maria given a sleep-like death? True, being killed is always a pitiful thing. But for some reason, Maria's death alone seemed very courteous to me. Both of Maria's hands were joined on her chest as though the dead person had put them there herself. Did Maria do that herself before dying? Isn't this unusually something done by someone else after the person dies? As though sleeping with her mother, whose head was half crushed, Maria dozed in peace. Can I get a manga panel of that? For some reason, that contrast really bugged me. Including the direct cause, it's probably safe to say that Maria's death is shrouded in mystery. And more than anything else, the biggest mystery of this dining hall was the pitfalls. The pitfalls that both Uncle Kraus' group and Goda-san had mentioned. After the first 6 were killed, 5 more fell through pitfalls and were captured. What are pitfalls? Those things that suddenly open and you fall through them, right? The room had a solid floor with a carpet that looked dignified if a bit worn out. No matter how you looked at it, it was single piece. If a pitfall had opened up, there would have been a seam just in that place. And if there had been some trick like a pitfall, wouldn't it creak when you walked on it? No matter how much I freaked around feeling the carpet, I just couldn't imagine that a pitfall was hidden there. Say pitfall one more time. Anyway, it'd be one thing if a single person fell, but a full 5 people did. By putting together everyone's stories, each one of them had fallen from a different location. So at the very least, there had to have been 5 separate places with pitfalls. So what does this mean? Was this room actually made with pitfalls across the entire floor? Or by pushing a button you could open up a pitfall in the location of your choice, some kind of contraption like that? That kind of ridiculous mechanism would be surprising even in a ninja mansion. But if Dad and the rest had heard about this, I wonder if they'd say I wouldn't put it past Grandfather to do it, to make it... At any rate, I didn't learn anything from that dining hall. Pitfall. Do the pitfalls not exist? Or do they exist but I just can't find them? I'm sure that I am. I can't say for sure. Since they claim that the pitfalls are there, I can't ignore them even if I can't find them. The next ones to be killed were Jessica and Giorgianiki. I discovered Giorgianiki when I'd been called out for my test. Pokemon. Pitfall. He had been called out to the arbor in the Rose Garden and probably shot in the forehead with a gun. Jessica had been called to her own room on the 2nd floor of the mansion. The door to her room was locked, but that wasn't a problem at all since I had a master key. Pretty. Inside the room it was horrible. but after the dining hall I was used to corpses, so I built up a bit of an immunity. The phone receiver was loose and dangling. Had she been killed while still on the phone with me? Jessica was leaning against the wall right next to it with half of her head split open. As far as I could tell by glancing at the scene, it looked as though she'd been killed while on the phone. In that case, had the culprit been right there before her eyes? I hadn't gotten that impression while listening to Jessica's voice over the phone. I'm pretty sure Jessica said, "They got me." It's probably best to assume that she'd already received a fatal wound at the time of the phone call. That's right, and she also said this. "When you come back, Blair, I'll be a corpse with half of its head split open." Yes, that's what she said. From what I could tell by looking at Jessica's corpse, there were no wounds on her other than the damage onto her head. Could she have had an injury serious enough to make her prepared for death and then died halfway through the phone call? But the way she talked on the phone made me think that she'd escape harm for the time being. You shouldn't be able to have a casual conversation over the phone if the culprit's right before your eyes. So did the culprit come and part way through the phone call and kill Jessica? No, that can't be right. After all, this room was locked. Wait, that doesn't tell me anything. If the culprit stole a master key from one of the victims, locking the door would be meaningless. But she had no external wounds other than her head. In that case, should I assume that the fatal wound she was prepared to die from and the actual external wound that damaged her head were two different things, and that both of them were made to the same part of the body? In other words, Jessica was struck severely on the head and received an incredibly bad wound. Then she called me and either lost consciousness or died while on the phone. Then the culprit came and damaged her head again. Something like that. Water break. I'm so thirsty today. After being called to this room, Jessica was attacked by the culprit and received a serious injury. Then the culprit thought she'd been killed and went away for the time being. But Jessica miraculously started breathing again and called me with what would become her dying message. Then the culprit realized that they failed to kill her and rushed back to deliver the final blow after Jessica fell unconscious from the massive blood loss. That seemed to add up more or less, except for how Jessica was able to accurately predict the nature of that final blow. And there was one more thing that bugged me about the phone call from Jessica. Jessica had said this. "George Nissan stunned for 2. That was an instant death." She said it almost as though she witnessed George Aniki being killed. But while you certainly could see the rose garden from the window in Jessica's room, and you could even see the roof of the Autobot where George Aniki had been summoned, it was very far away. Add to the fact that it was the night of a typhoon, and it had very hard to imagine she was able to witness everything window. And more than anything else, Jessica left before George Aniki, so she shouldn't have known that George Aniki's test took place with the Autobot. Why did Jessica know that George Aniki had been killed? Also, during my search of the entire mansion, I found Kairi-san's corpse as well. It was one of the old guest rooms at the back of the first floor. Ushirimiya Kairi. I love this song a lot. Corpse discovered in a guest room inside the mansion. There was a single hole right in the center of her forehead. It seems reasonable to think that she was shot with a gun or something. A demon stake was rammed into her forehead, but it is difficult to imagine that this was the cause of death. I didn't miss. I missed on purpose to torment her, Nia. It was in the past, before the construction of the guest house, the relatives had spent the night in these. Kairi-san's situation matched Jessica's perfectly. She'd probably been killed during her phone call with me. The receiver was hanging on tightly, and Kairi-san lay crumpled in that corner. But the way she had been killed was very different from Jessica. Her head wasn't smashed. Instead, a stake with an occult design was buried into her forehead. It was so gruesome, so I pulled it out. Brother, why? All you have been doing you've messed with the investigation, but not that much. This one is, you just put this guy's stupid. After putting it, I realized this might get me into trouble with the police later. I'm saying! So a little too late, I set it down by Kairi-san's side. Its tip was sharp and stained with enough blood that it must have penetrated fully to the brain. I didn't know what kind of metal it was made of, but it was about as heavy as a paperweight. Like this, it might cause a terrible wound. I probably knew what this stake meant. It's one of those. The style of killing from the fourth twilight onwards in the witch's epitaph. It's probably that gouge with a stake and kill thing. However, a human skull is very firm. No matter how much someone mustered their strength, could it really have been pierced so neatly? No. By my reasoning, this stake wasn't the cause of death, but had just been used to damage the corpses to death. She was probably killed with a gun or something like Jorjaniki, and the stake had been stuck into the hole left by the gun. Thinking of it that way makes it easier to accept. So I was already thinking this when they were talking about Jessica right now, but something else just clicked. Both of the people that used the phone before dying were females. And we're already throwing realism out the window when I said that Sayo can just disguise herself as people apparently whenever she wants. So, you know, if she can disguise her voice to sound like Hanon's, even that, why would she not be able to also mimic Kairi or Jessica's voices? So I'm thinking that it was Sayo who was talking to Butler, pretending to be the dead bodies, while the dead bodies were already long dead, and then she just put them neatly next to the phones. But was Kairi-san really killed with a gun? As she said on the phone, even though she was holed up inside a locked room, Kairi-san was being attacked. Like, if it was Kraus who had the last phone call, right? I got no way out of that. I'm cooked. But it wasn't. In fact, this room had been locked. Also, she mentioned a golden thread or something flying in and attacking her. And that's why both just... Oh my gosh! That's why Jessica and Kairi were so adamant of saying, yo, you trust me on this? You gotta believe in witches, bro. You gotta. That's my death's wish. Just please, dude, believe in witches. Because it was just Sayo trying to... In fact, there were 4 places around Kairi-san's corpse that holes could have been caused by some kind of attack. But still, a golden thread attacked her through the keyhole. I looked at the door from Kairi-san's perspective. If it had been one of those old keyholes you see in the old mysterious movies, where you can peek through the other side, then it would have clearly been possible to stick something through it. But even though the doors in this mansion were old-fashioned, the locks were the familiar average cylinder style that you could find in any normal house. In other words, they weren't constructed in a way that would let you penetrate through them. So no matter how thin an object you might try to stick through the keyhole, it's unthinkable that something penetrated through from the outside and attacked. A cylinder lock, and a keyhole. But despite that, Kairi-san definitely said that something like a golden thread had flown in through the keyhole, spun around while aiming for her and attacked her. A golden thread attacking through the keyhole. I couldn't understand what it meant at all. But even so, Kairi-san proudly predicted that I wouldn't be able to understand all this, and it wasn't just Kairi-san. Jessica said it over the phone too. No, since the very beginning, from the time we talked with Goda-san and Kumasawa-san and got the phone call from Uncle Kras's group, everyone has said the same consistent thing. Grandfather summoned witches and demons and is killing people with magic. They've been shown that right before their eyes. These weren't tricks or fakes. There was no choice but to believe it. With one voice, they had all said that. When the mystery woman calling herself Beatrice appeared, even I had pretty much believed that she was a real witch and might start summoning goat monsters right and left. However, after being left alone for a whole day, my feeling of tension had faded completely. I was now able to think that something so stupid definitely couldn't be true. Did they lose their heads a little in the extraordinary situation where their lives were exposed to danger, and mistakenly think that a witch was attacking them with magic? But multiple people gave the same kind of testimony, and on top of that, none of their opinions conflicted each other. It had just been a single statement. I'd be able to suspect that they just didn't see what they thought they saw. But doing that now is pretty difficult. It's just a I wish I was smart enough to know the terms, but it's like... I know there's a term for it. Whenever everyone is confused and panicking and someone says something, so in that confusion everyone just believes what that person said because their minds tricked them into also remembering that false memory. So, like, the pitfalls... Sorry, I'm far from the mic, 1 second. I'm back. So, like, the pitfalls... Shannon, Kanon, and if we want to also suspect Nanjo as being part of it, were also there in the dungeon. So, if they knew of the plan, if they were in on the plan, they can just say, "Whoa, Kraus, Kairi, did you see that? We just fell through pitfalls." And since there's 3 of them saying it, Kraus and Kairi have no option but to believe them, and they start thinking, wait, yeah, I remember falling through a pitfall, even though they don't. It was just like that implanted memory. And then you have Goda and Kumasawa with the kids also telling them things. And since the kids didn't even see what was happening, they also have no real choice but to believe Goda and Kumasawa. So it's just the servants working together to implant memories. Like, during the escape, you could also say that, like, Kairi... I forget what was the second one, but Kraus was fighting the goat people in the cell. So that one, I'm not sure how to explain away. But stuff like the arrows coming and all that, that was Shannon and Kanon stopping the arrow, stopping the rabbit sisters. So that's just them saying that. So Kraus, Kairi have no reason not to believe her. You understand what I'm saying? But now that I'm thinking about the goat thing, my explanation for it, like, was already that the goat people are just other... No, it's not worth it right now. I really don't have much of a thought on the goat people. There's 2 ways. It's that they're actual people, either like someone we know disguising themselves as these things, or just other secret servants, but I don't believe the secret servants because, you know, we have already had the thing that there's only 17 people on the island, or whatever. I did remove one person because I think that Shannon and Kanan are one person, so you have one slot open there, so maybe that one slot is for the goat person that for some reason they think there are multiple goat people when there's only one, but don't matter. I brought this up because I mentioned that it was Kraus fighting them, and at the start of the episode I was saying that Kraus might be behind this episode's incidents. Him and Natsuhi are in a plan because they wanted the whole thing with the inheritance and Kinso, so they elaborated this plan to make them believe that Kinso wasn't dead or whatever. So since Kraus was the one fighting the goat people, it could have been just him, like, "Hey guys, go open the gate, Kanon, good job, don't turn around, but I'm totally fighting goat people right now," you know? Maybe, I don't know, don't matter, I don't care. What gets me though is that I still remember that Nanjo was told one of the goat people, like, "Oh, take care of this injury, I'm sorry," or whatever. So, whatever, don't matter, I don't care. That's least of my problems. I only cared about the pitfalls, explaining the pitfalls with the dungeon and the implanted memories, which is also a Danganronpa reference. Then, right next to the back door, I found Uncle Kraus with his head half smashed. Even though he's escaped the dungeon for Kuwadorian. Ushiramiya Kraus, corpse discovered in the vicinity of the mansion's back entrance. His head was half destroyed. It seems reasonable to think that he was murdered with something like a powerful gun. A demon stake was rammed into the destroyed portion of his head. None can escape the Shyster's golden arrows. A whole lot of nothing. I was talking about Danganronpa. Even though he escaped the dungeon of Kuwadorian. I read that 3 times and somehow made it this far by a secret underground passage. He had been killed. Buried into the gruesome cross-section of his half-crushed head was a stake with an occult design like the one that had been buried into Kairi-san's forehead. Hashtag, yep. Yeah, I like to solve the puzzle. Yup. And in the situation, it was very hard to imagine that this stake was the weapon used. He had been killed with a powerful gun like the six in the dining hall, and after death had been jabbed with a stake like Kairi-san. I wonder if the golden threads that Kairi-san spoke of attacked on Kokurasu too. Yeah, I like to solve Umineko. There exists some kind of tool like an endoscope that's very thin but can be moved about at will. And that can also attack people. No way, I've never heard of anything like that. But even so, if this fact had been revealed to one of the relatives, maybe they'd say I wouldn't put it past grandfather to make it. Since I can't deny the existence of golden thread X that can be moved at will and attack people, I can either accept that this mysterious weapon exists, or else I have to accept that this was a murder committed with magic. To find the next corpse, I had to go through the back door and search around outside of it. What was I recently saw that image where they put a bunch of detectives together into quadrants that's could solve the Kira mystery, could not solve the Kira mystery, could figure out the properties of the Death Note, and could not figure out the properties of the Death Note. And I believe when I recently saw it, I saw Battler there. And Battler was put in... I don't remember, but I think... No, I do remember. It was that he could figure out how the Death Note works, but he couldn't solve the mystery of who Kira was. And that was just really funny to me, because yeah, it makes sense. I think I have the picture. 1 second. I lied, I do not have the picture. But I think that's where they put them. Oh no, I do have the picture. Yeah, it's can't intuit the mechanics of the Death Note, could not solve the Kira case. My goat is so washed. I like that Akechi and Adachi are also in could not solve it but could intuit the mechanics of the Death Note. It's just everyone in that culture is just people that know about the supernatural but are not smart. To find the next corpse, I had to go out through the back door and search around outside of it. Behind the mansion, in the wild-grown bushes that were almost swallowed up by the forest, there was something like an old well. Whoa! Curious. Curious indeed. They're faking it! They're faking it! Nanja Terumasa, corpse discovered behind the mansion. His head was half destroyed. It seems reasonable to think that he was shot with a gun or something. A demon stake was lying next to the corpse. Shannon, corpse discovered behind the mansion. Her head was half destroyed. It seems reasonable to think that she was shot with a gun or something. A demon stake was lying next to the corpse. The witnesses understand one thing at least. It was not the stake that killed her. So there's a lot of things to say here. Either it don't matter because people have died in episodes, you know, like, there's one true answer. So who's like, this don't even matter that she died here, because in other episodes she didn't die here, and the truth is that she didn't die at all. So him seeing this is just fake. It was implanted into the water bottles, and it never happened. But I don't really like that answer. I would like to solve each episode within their own episodes. So let's say that in this sequestrated episode, outside of all outside influences, Butler did see Shannon's corpse here. So one, her head is half smashed, so it could just be a fake corpse and you can't really see her face. Unless he's about, the next text box says, her head was half missing, but I could still clearly tell that it was beautiful Shannon-chan or whatever. And two is that I was gonna say she's faking it, but you know, head smashed, kind of hard to fake. I'd like to say that it's a fake corpse. Or the other answer that's more likely is that it don't matter because she never died here in the first place. It's just an implanted memory or whatever. I had another answer, but I forgot it because I was yapped too long. Yep, I forgot. Bro was about to say nothing ever matters, but it's true though. We're literally just seeing the wind in the form of Shannon's body right now. And right next to it were Dr. Nanjo and Shannon-chan's corpses. Both corpses had their heads smashed. And though they weren't struck in, there were stakes lying right next to each damaged head. Each corpse was atrocious, but having to look directly at Shannon-chan's lovely face, which had been half blown away, was very painful. Actually, the stakes being next to them gives me my other answer. That it's once again suicide, like I said in either episode 3 or 2 about Kumasawa. So they place the stakes next to each other because they won't be able to stab them into each other once they're dead. So they put the stakes next to each other, and then actually the gun would have to be around here somewhere. So someone else... Nah, I'm lost. I was gonna say that they shot themselves, so they placed the stakes next to each other, right? So that when they died, the stakes would be next to each other. But where's the gun? So I was gonna say, well, someone else shot them, but if someone else shot them, then that someone else could have put the stakes in them. So that's... They ate a capsule that was a little tiny bomb, which exploded inside of their mouths. Yeah, there you go. Then there was the well. I'd heard that inside it was a secret underground passage to the mysterious mansion Kuwadorian. By this time I began to think that Beatrice and her accomplices might use this underground passage and left for Kuwadorian. But there had apparently been at least 10 of them. I hadn't seen a trace of any more. It seemed very likely that they'd already escaped to a different location. There's a typhoon. They can't go out to sea. It goes the same for the forest. There's no way they could traverse such a deep, uncultivated forest. In that case, they had only one place to go. The mysterious hidden mansion, Kuwadorian. Though the secret underground passage at the bottom of the well. By this time, I had entirely lost my fear of being killed if I happened to come across the enemy. Don't fuck with me. This place, I'll storm into your mansion. What the hell? Damn it! The old well had a firm cover on it. The well was an iron grill. The gaps between the bars were perhaps 20 centimeters across. You could peer inside, but it wasn't something a human could pass through. Water. I think using my normal voice drives me out when doing voices. If I hadn't known better, I wouldn't have thought it'd have anything more than a simple cover to prevent falls. But from what Kairi-san had told me, I knew that its purpose was to prevent intruders from entering the secret underground passage in its depths. But the cover was extremely firm and rigid, and no matter how much I pushed or pulled, I couldn't even get close to opening it. I couldn't find any obvious lock. It might be sealed by some mechanism. But no matter how much I investigated, I couldn't find anything to release it. Release me! The biggest piece of information Kairi-san had tried to give me gambling in her final moments was the underground passage in this well. Don't think I'll be stopped by something like this cover. I'll smash it to bits! I'll search for a tool. I had an idea. But the shutter to the gardening shed was locked. On top of that, the key was with Goda-san, who was dead on the inside. In other words, this gardening shed was a closed room. There was no way to open it from the outside. By the way, Butler never mentioned Shannon's face, so it could be a fake body. In that case, I got to break the shutter. There has to be a tool for that somewhere. Kinda feels like I'm going in circles here. Then, while searching for that, I learned that the source of the stench that had permitted in the mansion this whole time was the underground boiler room. Okay, so Shannon was the one who killed Nanjo Nah, never mind. It's silly. I was gonna say that she purposefully didn't stab the bodies with the stakes so that Butler would think that it's suicide and thus not reach the truth. But I think that's a bit... I'm going too far. While searching for that, I learned that the source of the stench had been permitted... The boiler room was dimly lit, humid, smelled horrible, and on top of all that, it was incredibly creepy. But there were several large tools there, and I managed to find a fire hatchet and some massive wire cutters. My grandfather's corpse. Ushiramiya Kinso, discovered as a burnt corpse from the incinerator in the underground boiler room. As there were no signs that he fought to get out of the incinerator, it seems reasonable to think that he was burned after he was murdered. Dust to dust, ashes to ashes, the dead to the dead. He's still alive, by the way. And grandfather's corpse. That was the Valve opening song, where the intro to Valve games. No, strictly speaking, I should probably say that I found a burned corpse of a person who was probably grandfather. Someone's corpse had been stuffed into the blazing fires of the boiler. However, by coincidence, I was able to notice the number of toes in the corpse. Both feet had 6 toes. That's right, I think I heard it from Dad some time ago. Something about grandfather having polydactyly with extra toes. According to the old Ushiramiya family tradition, it seems that those with extra fingers or toes had some kind of good fortune or were treated as a good omen. And because of that, grandfather was elected to be the successor or something. But I wonder if I can be certain that this is grandfather's body just from the number of toes. After all, grandfather was supposed to be the leader of a group of culprits. I didn't have a clue why he'd get stuffed into a boiler in the first place like this and die. A mysterious corpse burning and spitting out a terrible stench amid the flames. If it really was grandfather, did that mean that the leader of the group of the culprits wasn't grandfather, but that bad face after all? Grandfather was used because he was convenient and was then thrown away. Unfortunately, it didn't look like I'd be given a chance to hear grandfather's side of the story. Now that I had attained a 2, I thought about rushing to take on the cover to the well, but I decided to break the shutter to the gardening shed first. I had plenty of time to kill anyway. I figured I should check out the condition of Goda-san and Kumasawa-san's corpse. Crap! It's going to ruin one of my theories. I hid the shutter with the hatchet breaking into it, stuck the wire cutter into the crack, and scissored it around, opening it a hole. Then I faced Goda-san and Kumasawa-san's corpses once more. Goda Toshiro, corpse discovered in the Rose Garden storehouse. It is hypothesized that he was shot in the forehead and then strung up by the neck. They themselves put the necks in the news. It was an interesting experience to try on occasion. Kumasawa Chiyo, corpse discovered in the Rose Garden storehouse. As long as a locked room could be constructed, anything would have sufficed. Then I faced Goda-san and Kumasawa-san's corpses once more. As a result, I learned a new fact. First, they had not died by being hung by the neck. Both of their feet were solidly on the floor. And on both of their foreheads were signs that they'd been shot with a gun. The loop seemed longer than a normal noose. On top of that, the length was different on each to make the height of each person. In other words, the lengths had been adjusted so that both Goda-san, who was tall, and Kumasawa-san, who was short, had their feet solidly but barely on the ground. Also, while the corpses carried both their weights as their heads lolled, both of them had been slacked below the knees. This meant that if they stood up with those hoops around their necks, there would have been some extra length. In other words, the loops wouldn't have been that great for hanging people. The direct cause of death was probably a shot to the head. It was gruesome. Their insides were still dripping out from those gaping holes, staining their faces a deep red. It was probably best to assume that they were then hung, pulled up, and left exposed like that. I was thinking. I mean, it is a factual fact that they were out and about because of Virgilia and Gab. So at some point they did get out. So what? They knew that Butler was gonna come to check in on them. So they pretended to be hanged, leaving, space so they would not actually be hanging, just so they could seem like they were hanging from the window. Then after Butler left, that's when they got out. And then after all the incidents happened and everyone was dead, they went into the storehouse again, hung themselves again, but then someone else shot them both, left, locked the door, and then threw the key through the window to create a locked room. Mayhaps. If they'd been shot with a gun, they would probably have been lying down on the floor. If that had been the case, you wouldn't have been able to tell they were dead even if you peeked through the window. The mountain of stuff would have been gotten in the way, so if they'd been lying down, they would have been hidden. To make the deaths of those two known to the rest of us who couldn't go inside, they would have to hang them like this, like they did this from the outside. Was this done to get back at me for thinking that those two would surely be safe if we left the key with them? I wonder if there was a shutter key we gave Goda-san, which would have ensured his safety for now. If it's in his pocket, then that's like a bit... because, how did they aim through the window to fall right into his pocket? But it's still possible. If it's on the floor, then GG's, I win. The key was in the pocket of his trousers. Shannon just has really good aim, which is also a Danganronpa reference. The gardening shed key had been kindly left there and even the plate was attached. In other words, the gardening shed had been a closed room after all. And that gave rise to another question. Because this can be explained by a hanging. If they didn't commit suicide, then those nooses were set up by the culprit. It might have been possible to shoot them through the window, but it's really unthinkable that someone could have tied two loops of the barn from the outside. And furthermore, there's no way they could have lifted up the heavy corpses. In other words, to do all this, they would have had to go inside, but the key was in Goda-san's pocket and the shutter had been locked. In other words, the gardening shed had been in a closed room. Goda-san had said that there was only one key to the shutter, but it is possible that there was a copy, and the culprit was in possession of it. If we're allowed to theorize that there actually was a duplicate of the gardening storehouse key, and that Goda-san didn't just know about it, then this isn't even close to a closed room. But why is it that despite the fact that almost all of the other corpses were shot to death and left almost completely alone, just these two corpses were intentionally hoisted up? I couldn't help but feel something a bit odd about that. After this, we assumed that the mystery corpses in the boiler was grandfather's. The deaths of 16 people have been confirmed. There were 18 people on this island. I'm here, and there are 16 corpses. Kanonkun's corpse is the only one I hadn't been able to confirm. And you never will, because it don't exist! It don't exist! That's why in that one episode his body went missing, because Shannon and Kanon were the same people, and it took me this long to remember that. If I had remembered that Kanon's corpse had gone missing in that episode, that would have made me believe in my theory way earlier. Okay, Kanon's corpse is the only one that I hadn't been able to confirm. According to Kairi-san, who had been killed while climbing out of the well and had fallen down into it. So with the well closed up like this, is it possible to check? Speaking of checking, I'm gonna check. Crap! Not meant to click. Wrong thing. Stop! My finger's so far to the right to do right click and it still clicks left click. Whatever. It was episode 3, right? No, it was episode 2. Missing. The Witcher race's corpses are fun. That alone threw them into chaos. If the human world is what it is, then what is not its undoubtedly fantasy? Fantasy because of the things that's here. Yep. And I'm going to assume either Shannon or Kanon's corpses are impossible to access in every episode. Corpse found inside the Rose Garden storehouse. It seems that the side of her head was smashed after her death. Don't worry, everyone will be revived in Golden Land. With the weapons are sounding nice, Vic having been rammed to his chest, he was found in the boiler room. Episode 1 is... Like in episode 3, they... No, wait. Just... I'll check. But this one, yeah, this one... No, because the storehouse, right. The storehouse was when they had all their heads smashed. Yeah, only half of her face was smashed. I don't care, that's enough. So it's a fake body. So her actual body was in the form of Kanon, and that's the one we found. In episode 3, I believe that his death was part of the super duper multi-locked closed room mystery, meaning that we couldn't actually see his corpse, but I think we did, but I'm gonna double check. Corpse discovered in the parlor of the first room. The murder weapon said to be a gunner spear-shaped object for Shannon, the parlor whose view of the Rose Garden was beautiful on sunrise days. I don't remember this death at all. No, she was part of the closed room, multi-room thingy. Corpse discovered in the chapel, yeah. But I don't think we ever saw that. We only got word of their deaths through the adults who actually went through the trouble of getting all the keys and opening each one to find the corpses, right? But we never saw it. So there's some shenanigans going there. But I think I remember that George does indeed see Shannon's corpse when he goes to revive her with batteries. Meaning that it's Kanon's corpse that is lost in action. Perhaps. Because we didn't directly see it. Anyways, nice little detour back to the game. Not that I needed much more confirmation. I was doubting the theory last time, right? Because I still don't understand how it's going to mesh with Jessica's story, having Kanon not really exist. But it doesn't, to me it doesn't mesh with Jessica's story, but it does mesh with the story of the game. I said this last time, where like, if you don't believe in magic, then you're taking happiness away from Jessica. But if you do believe in magic, by believing in magic, you are giving life to Kanon as a separate entity. Thus, Jessica gets to be happy. So it's just another thing of, do you break lovely fantasy because of your desire to know the truth? Or do you keep the fantasy going so that people can be happy? I tried shining on the flashlight through the bars down into the darkness in the depths of the wall. Well, but it seemed that the jet black darkness had no intention of showing me its depths with the light of that lamp. It looked like I had to break the bars after all. Using the hatches and things I dragged from the boiler room and the gardening shed, I tried breaking the cover of the well. But the metal bars were extraordinarily sturdy, and breaking them wasn't easy. I hit them with the hatchet over and over until my hands started feeling weird and eventually gave up on breaking them. It's impossible. If they were at least wood, I might have been able to break them. But this metal... That's right, there's no way you can slice through the metal bars like butter with a human strength. I can't even begin to understand the story about how Kanon couldn't cut through metal bars. I heard that a light like a red laser beam grew out of his arm, but then he sliced through the metal bars like he was cutting through butter. Cutting through metal like bars like butter. And what's with the red laser beam? Does that mean he secretly had a burner on it or something and used that to burn through the bars? Still, just what kind of laser could cut through metal bars like butter? Is this a charger? What is this? Random wire. It almost sounds like the kind of laser beam you find in those robot anime I loved as a kid, doesn't it? Does something like that actually exist? And how the Kanon couldn't get their laser beam? No matter how much I want to ask him there, he's already been killed. Plus, even his corpse is now in the depths of the well beyond this cover. If Kanon could slice through metal bars, I'm sure he could handle this metal cover in a single swing. It feels just like the closed room Goda-san was locked in while holding the key. Only one person can open the door, but they're locked inside. Just who is Kanon-kun? He couldn't really be a non-human being capable of using a strange power, right? Kairi-san told me to believe in witches, and I even met an insane woman calling herself one. Could Kanon-kun possibly be a human on the witch's side? Or else, the culprit? What the heck? Am I gonna start treating him like the culprit just because I can't find his corpse? Ooh. Oh, treating him like the culprit because there's no corpse. And who was the one babbling about the suspicious being innocent? Very well. I couldn't bear having you push all the crimes of Kanon and building a human culprit theory that way. She's about to use the red to say that he's dead, but like, I already beat that trick. I know what you mean by that. But yes, I would love that, because her saying it in red proves my theory more. Because that means that we're not gonna find his corpse, so the only way to trick the audience is by having it said in red, but bada bing bada boom, we all get it, right? I will guarantee it with the red. Kanon is dead. Among the 5 in Kairi's group, he was the first to die. In short, he was the 9th victim. That last line, that one is evil. I don't want to give it too much thought right now, but that's interesting. Because like, the way I was thinking about it before was that by dead, they mean that, you know, there was once a Kanon in life, maybe in Kuwadorian or in Demon Fornage, that died. And that's why it is fact that he died, even if it wasn't our Kanon that died, right? So Kanon is dead. But now saying that he was the 9th victim, that one's cheeky. So now I'm gonna change my thinking that instead of that, it means that they die once Sayo stops trying to bring them into existence. Once she, like the way that Mayman and the 7 Sisters of Purgatory died when Angie got mad in the classroom. Once the creator stops believing in them, once they let go, that is their death. So during their escape from the dungeon, Shannon was like, okay, I no longer want to play with you, Kanon, and threw him away, and that's why he quote-unquote dies, and he can be the 9th victim. Kanon. Butler could not discover his corpse. Killing him with magic is all very well, but without a corpse you will inevitably be a suspect, truly anti-fantasy. Which is why I guaranteed his death with the red truth, truly anti-mystery. Since there's no corpse, I can't say for sure that Kanon is dead. Some of my whispering in red does not reach this PCU, but it did reach you, right? Hi. At a glance, this was a mass murder due to something strange that could only be thought of as magic. Golden threads that attacked through the keyholes. No, we even have testimony that something gold flew around the dining hall with the first 6 die. The two might have been the same weapon. Then there was the closed room murders of the garden shed and the laser beam that could cut metal bars, and that wasn't all. There was much, much more, like the groups of goat monsters, the story of a witch who could create pitfalls just by snapping her fingers, and the rabbit-like demons who had fired golden threads. I think there was more, but each part was all screwed up. I couldn't possibly accept it and was forced to suspect that it was some kind of trick or mistake. But even in the world had everyone spoken with one voice, saying the same thing without contradiction in their testimony. It's not only the magic. There's Maria's mysterious death, why Jessica knew that George Aniki had been killed. The mysterious burnt corpse that I couldn't confirm really had belonged to that damn geezer, and more and more. All stuff I don't get. I tilted the wine bottle up and gulped. I don't have any clue what's going on. After dinner last night, the kids were chased out and told to go back to the guest house. And then there was a massacre in the dining hall. Kairi-san and the rest were dropped through pitfalls and captured. Then Jessica and George Aniki were called out to take a test or whatever and killed. Even though Kairi-san's group was able to escape the dungeon, somehow all of them got killed in the end. At the very, very end, even Maria was killed, leaving me all alone. In short, I did nothing except stay locked up at that guest house. During that time, a huge incident occurred and ended. What can I call it except incomprehensible? I don't have a clue anymore. Now I'm nothing but a drunk. You plan on leaving me only me alive? Show yourself right away and come and kill me already. It's too much of a pain, so I won't search for you. You show me your true form yourself. I won't run or hide, so come at me with arrows or bullets or whatever. I haven't gotten any sleep since yesterday, so I'm sleeping. You want to kill me? Go ahead. I decided to return to the guest house and boldly rest in a bed. When I exited the kitchen and passed through the lobby, that portrait of the witch came into view. The big clock did too. It was almost exactly 24 o'clock. Then the sound of the bell rang out, proclaiming that 24 o'clock had arrived. As I listened, I looked up at Beatrice's portrait. Exactly 24 hours ago, I met you. What were you trying to say? And where did you go? Just who in the world are you? Golden Witch Beatrice. I haven't solved a single one of the riddles surrounding you. Show yourself and fight me. Then, the witch showed herself. Like a guest of honor finally appearing, she showed herself on the landing on the top of the big staircase. So, you finally show yourself. I've been kept bored for a whole day. Okay. Correct. I gave you a whole day. Was that enough for you to fully exercise the rights of the human side? Yeah. I was bored after all. I did a heck of a lot of it. Angie was a good piece. Don't you speak Angie's name. She appeared through a miracle, sacrificed herself, and gave you the tenacity required for certain victory. Don't you speak Angie's name. That brutal death was something you needed. If you hadn't seen that death, you wouldn't have grown serious. Without the wake-up call of Angie's ill-fated future, your tenacity for victory would not have been born. I told you not to speak Angie's name! In short, she was a necessary sacrifice. Otherwise, an anger great enough to kill me would not have been born in you. The rivalry between us could not be destroyed. Damn you, Lady Berencastel, it's more fitting to call that a trump card than a piece. No matter how much a piece acts, it does not stray from the board. But no matter how much power a trump card wields, it is always thrown away after it is used. Angie was truly a good trump card for you. Don't you speak Angie's name! As Butler's angry roar, Bato finally stopped talking. You know I don't have time to play around in a place like this anymore. Even a tie will keep Angie waiting. I am going to break through to you. Take my family and go back home. I won't waste a second playing witch games with you. In that case, what should you do? You know, don't you? Yeah! I'll beat you down! I'll blast away all witches' magic, illusion, and delusions! Come on, let's get started! I won't let you trick me again! Resume the game, okay? I'll tear apart the witch's veil, concealing the outright lie you are. You talk too much. All you have to do is honestly say, I'll kill you. Yeah, if those are the words you want, I'll say them. This is the first and last wish of yours that I'll lend an ear to. I thank you. I will. I will kill you! Very well! Let us begin, Butler! Yes, the time for the witch hunt has come! Try and chase me, try and corner me, try and kill me! I expect a lot from you! Try and show me what your little sister gave you in her last moments! Bring it on! Butler's cry burned the world with a bright light, and if you open your eyes amidst the darkness, the two of them could be seen in a rose garden. Who shall make the first move? Me. How bold. In the rose garden, beautiful rose petals danced. Those colors of those rose petals was red. The fate that they face each other in this beautiful rose garden prove or make claim to a red single truth. Okay. We're turning it off. Hopefully I'm still audible. That must be why the roses are red. But in the language of flowers, roses represent passion, not truth. The flower for truth is a forget-me-not, and that flower is blue. I'll bore through everything with my blue truth, from the very beginning of everything. I'll start from the very first game. Very well, let's see what you've got. Come. Here I go. I've already proclaimed it, but I'll say it again. This isn't just for the murder of Dr. Nanjo in the last game. This will tear apart every scene from every game since the beginning. Ushigami Kinso is already dead. Therefore, the true number of people on the island is 17. By adding an unknown person X to that, it becomes 18 people. By supposing that this person X exists, the crime is possible even if all 17 people have alibis. By this, even though the number of people reaches 18, it is still possible for culprit X to exist and carry out the crime even if all 18 people seem to have alibis. You can break through all of the murders in episode 1 by supporting an unknown person X. Furthermore, it's even possible to explain the mystery of Kinso's evaporation of the closed room sealed by the receipt by making the bold assumption that Kinso wasn't there in the first place. Break. I don't believe that. I think that Kinso is alive, but he is not wrong that there is one missing piece that is occupied by someone else, perhaps, and that missing piece is Shannon/Kanon because they're one person. So he's half right, but Kinso is most definitely still alive. Unless Battle counters this with the red truth, the illusion of the witch from episode 1 has been completely smashed. The blue truth is valid. Whoa! The wedge of blue truth that Battler had thrown stabbed right through the top of Battle's left foot. Was the red blood pouring out from there a purchase being made by her red truth? Battle shut one of her eyes tight, enduring the unbearable pain of the blue truth that denied her. Not bad, but I mustn't be denied yet. I mustn't be killed yet. This is not yet enough. In the subsequent games, there were mysteries that couldn't be explained with that alone, right? Which mysteries? In the final stages of the second game, George took Koda and Shannon with him, barricaded them in Natsui's room and was killed. The key that unlocked Natsui's room was locked up inside the room, and all of the remaining keys that could unlock the door were in Rosa's hand. Even if the culprit X existed, it should have been impossible to construct that closed room. And my answer to that is the wolves and sheep puzzle. There were 2 wolves and only 1 sheep. Goda and Shannon were the wolves, and George was the sheep. So they outnumbered him and killed him in the locked room. The blue witch that Pierce Battle shook. She was resisting fighting to pull it out. No, that doesn't shake my blue truth. If culprit X were to obtain a master key, that's not even close to a closed room. No, it was impossible for the culprit to obtain one. All of the master keys were under Rosa's control. But that's meaningless if Aunt Rosa was an accomplice to the culprit. Aunt Rosa handed a key over to culprit X by some method, assisted in the locked room murder. And after that, she retrieved the key by a similar method. Too naive, Bethel. I've already guessed that much at that time. Yes, you did, didn't you? The witch that had been gradually losing its sparkle and had seemed as though it was about to be pulled out, regained its strong blue again thanks to Battle's additional blue truth, and dug into Battle again, eating into her food. Battle let out a cry of anguish at that pain. Oh, not yet! This is still nothing! Not yet! Not yet! On to the third game. The 6 linked close rooms, the murder of Aunt Rosa and Maria, Dad and the rest deaths in the hall, the murders of Uncle Kraus and Aunt Natsuhi, all of that can be explained if we suppose that Aunt Eva was the culprit. This argument was already won back then, but that's also not true. And even that final riddle you proposed through Eva, the murder of Dr. Nanjo can be explained with an 18th person unknown person X. That breaks through the whole third game. Can you counter that? Of course. This much. It's nothing to worry about. In that case, how do you explain George's disappearance from the guest house? I shall add to that red truth. George did not go down the stairs of the guest house. He flew out through the window. That part was not in red though, so you know. That one, I thought he went down the stairs, right? But, well, Eva was out doing things in some other place. But now I can just say that, you know, he locked in and jumped. I don't know. Don't matter. I don't care. In that final stages of the third game, George suddenly vanished from the second floor of this guest house. Eva, who had been on the first floor, claimed that no one came downstairs. But because of the blue truth, George could have snuck down on the first floor and escaped while Eva was still busy carrying Krause's and Natsuhi's corpses outside. That was my original theory, yes. But by adding an additional red truth, Bato had denied the possibility. To go outside without going down the stairs to the first floor, he would have had to leave by the window, but all of the windows have been locked from the inside. This is the first one I don't have an answer to. I'll let Bato cook on this one. So what? It's just like you said. He flew out the window, right? There was a lawn, so he couldn't tell if he jumped down and it was raining so hard. Any light traces would have disappeared. I'll use the red truth again. All windows and doors leading to the outside were locked from the inside. Furthermore, it's impossible to lock any of those from the outside. Well, who else was up there? I forgot. That's why I don't have an answer, because I forgot everything about that little part. So, you know, anyone else who was up there locked the window after him. It could have been... I was gonna say Shannon, but no, that don't make too much sense. It could have been anyone, I don't care. George had no technique by which to lock them. I'll use more of the blue. I said to myself at that time. In that case, everything works out as long as someone locked the window after George Aniki escaped through it. Nothing difficult about that. That's what I said. Can I not escape after something like this? Bator couldn't remove the blue witch that was buried in her foot. The fake witch was burned more and more by that forceful blue. There's still nothing that shakes my blue truth in any of the first 3 games. In that case, the only one that can prove you're a witch in this game is this game, the 4th game. Since I haven't countered you with the red, that is so. I shall have to prove witches you've seen only this game. Very well. Give me everything you've got. There's nothing strange about the murder of the 6 people in the dining hall. The 18th person X went wild with the gun and killed everyone. Regarding the pitfalls, there is every chance the pitfalls truly were hidden there, and it is also possible to explain them with Kairi-san's theory hypothesizing the existence of a poison dart shooting device X, which can knock the person out instantly. The murders of George, Janiki, Jessica, and those who escaped from the dungeon can also be explained with guns, just like the dining hall. There's nothing strange about it. But I'm sure you've got a counterattack, right? Bring it on! Your greatest sword, this 18-person X, is based on the theory that Kinso was already dead. I knew you would make that claim. That's why I took Kinso out of his study. All members in the family conference welcomed that Kinso rights. All of those present at the family conference acknowledged the existence of Kinso. That's right. But grandfather was seriously ill, bedridden on the verge of life and death, right? If he was so worn out that he looked like a different person, maybe no one would have cared, right? I'll counter with this, that grandfather was a different person, a body double. I did also say this. A different person who the relatives mistook for grandfather. And it's a theory that I'm on the fence on. You know, like, if we believe that Natsuki and Kraus were in on this one, and they were setting up things to convince that Kinso was still alive, then yeah, that's what I said. But I'm still a true believer that Kinso has been alive forever. The entirety of all games. But it still bothers me that the Kinso of this episode was very out of character. Like, maybe this was a body double, but the real Kinso was still out there. 2 Kinsos. Then I'll counter with this. No person will mistake Ushirimiya Kinso by sight. Curious. Interesting. Again, it don't bother me because I was already a believer that Kinso was alive. No person will mistake Ushirimiya Kinso by sight. No matter what the disguise, they would not mistake Ushirimiya Kinso by sight. Then how about this? By declaring with the red truth in the second game that the number of Master Keys was 5, when in the first game the number was more than 5, you changed the premises of the later games. In the same way, there is a possibility that Kinso's life or death status was changed for the 4th game. Therefore, Kinso's existence in the 4th game does not serve as proof that he existed in the previous games. Therefore, even if we suppose that the 6 murders in the dining hall were carried out by grandfather himself, it doesn't create any contradictions. It's funny because it's the opposite of what I was saying, that he was alive during the previous games, but in this one he was dead and this was a body double. But I guess I gotta let that one die because she said that it couldn't really be a body double. Which is fine. I'm fine with that. To me, Kinso was always alive. Then let me counter this way. Kinso's life or death status is the same at the start of each of the 4 games. So he's alive in all games. The setup was not different for the 4th game. Repeat it! Wait, I forgot. For the 4th game alone. I didn't read the last one. Kinso was alive at the start of every game. I refuse to repeat it. I won't answer, Butler. I won't give you the red truth you so desire. Damn, you're standing in my way, geezer. Are you putting yourself on the line to protect Beatrice's most beloved witch of yours? Swain, the damn geezer came into view. Is he trying to be some kind of knight blocking the path between me and Bato?
Butler, are you capable of surpassing me? I won't let you reach! I won't let you reach! Not to the golden witch's height, you see! Your thoughtless reason cannot surpass even me alone! Die!
Ew, bro, what? That's pretty wicked. Kinso's jet black cave spread as though it would swallow the world, becoming the snout of a vast black dragon that came at me, trying to swallow me in one gulp. I really hope there's a sort of reference to the Book of Revelations from the Bible. That would be wicked. This is the beast. Although it doesn't have 7 heads or 8 crowns, so maybe not. Faced with the jet black dragon's roar, I claim by breathing and close my eyes slightly.
I'll swallow you up in a single gulp! Little pain experience!
Quiet, you damn undying ghost.
Oh, so you can call me a ghost. So you intend to see it through to the end, this theory that I'm already dead. That will prove fatal to you. Be swallowed up by the first twilight of the 4th game and disappear.
The black dragon's vast mouth, its snout, its fangs swallow Butler whole. In that instant, Butler suddenly opened his eyes. Thanks, Beatrice. Your third game became a football for my counterattack. What? See ya, dim geezer. This is goodbye. As a basis for claiming that Kinso was dead, even in the fourth game, I propose the following theory.
Very well, come with all you have, my descendant.
Here I go, you damn geezer. My theory is that Kinso's name is passed on as the title of the Ushirimiya family head. Ushirimiya Kinso was already dead, and he passed his name on to someone else. Everyone acknowledged it, and therefore all of those present in the family conference acknowledged the existence of Kinso. There wasn't even any need for this person to disguise themselves as grandfather, because everyone recognized a new Kinso. Therefore, they didn't actually mistake Kinso by sight. As long as the preceding theory is not disproven, nothing can change the fact that you are dead. That's pretty good, Butler. I did not think of that myself. That's pretty good. I don't believe it though, but I'll take the L if that's right. This is the final blow. Damn geezer. I demand that you repeat it. Among all of the people there, not one had multiple different names. Oh, well, that one, you cannot say that one. Yeah, no, that's clever. That's clever. You cannot say that in red, because it is true that among the people there, some had different names. Cough, cough, Sayo, right? But not Kinso. But he cannot disprove that, you know, you get it. It's two things. Kinso is not the one with different names. But since Butler said that no one in the room had different names, it cannot be repeated in red, because it's Sayo, the one with different names, not Kinso.
I cannot.
Rest in peace, them geezer. Thank me. You are finally able to die. This is your requiem. Take it and drop dead. Ushirimiya Kinso was already dead. Yeah, poor old you. Whenever we find your corpse is always completely burnt. That was a gimmick to prevent discovery of the fact that time had passed since your death. And you passed your name onto someone else. With this theory, even though you are dead, Kinso can still appear at the family conference. How's that? This is checkmate! Oh, sick. Several dozen blue stakes bored into Kinso's ghost. Their terrible destructive power wouldn't let the ghost recover again. Kinso, thank you for everything. Rest in peace. I will not forget my time spent with you. Disappearing along with the shadow of the black dragon as flower petals scattered, Ushirimiya Kinso became a gold-colored cyclone and disappeared. Even after death, he had fought for the sake of the woman he'd loved. There's no doubting that your love and madness were the real thing. Butler. Don't hate me. Let the dead sleep. Don't wake them. You're up next. This is the end for you too. Belle still couldn't pull out the blue wedge that pierced her foot. She realized that she was on the verge of death. I'm gone along with you a whole bunch. I think I more than fulfilled my responsibility. I had to play with you. But it's about time to finish things up. I've got a lonely little sister waiting at home. Let me take my leave with my whole family. Then kill me. In that case, try and kill me. I won't run or hide, and by now I won't even be able to avoid it. Come on, Ushirimiya Butler! You've got it. With the 18-person X from the dead Kinso theory, everything remaining is pierced through. George-Aniki and Jessica's deaths in the first game can be explained by culprit X, and the 5 who escaped from the dungeon and were killed, and the 2 in the gardening shed, and Maria in the end. All of those can be explained with an 18-person X. There's nothing strange at all. This concludes the explanation of the culprit with humans for all games. Beatrice, this here is checkmate! Beatrice, who couldn't dodge, had several blue stakes driven into her and was skewered. Beato grabbed at them, trying to pull them out somehow. That got me. It hurts. This will kill me, won't it? If I don't pull these out, I'll die. I had enough of the pain. I've had enough of the anguish. With both hands, Beato firmly grasped one of the blue stakes. Naturally, the power of the witch denying blue truth burned her hands. Unable even to hide her tears of the pain, Beato howled and tried to pull the stakes out with all her might. If I can't pull these out, I'll die. This is my final counterattack. Then, Battler, how do you explain my several acts of magic? The very first time those appeared was in the second game, when I fixed Maria's pumpkin marshmallow. At that time, Rosa definitely witnessed that magic. Certainly, at that time, Rosa witnessed gold butterflies gathering and fixed scene of a marshmallow by the miracle of magic. Rosa alone witnessing it isn't very credible, right? That's why I increased the number of witnesses to the uppermost limit later on. Which is what happened in this last game. The summoning of my minions and brutal murders due to magic. All of those were witnessed by a great many people. That is itself proof that my magic exists. How do you explain that? Stalemate. What? Magic exists because magic exists. Didn't the rules of our brain tube trial say that you couldn't use that kind of argument? Yes. You're right. No matter who or how many people witness magic, that cannot become proof of magic's existence. Or did he have a vine boom sound effect with every word? Whether all the magic you've shown exists or not, I can ignore it all and explain things with humans. That's my undeniable right. Am I wrong? At those words, the blue stakes let out an even brighter light, knocking my hands. I'm Skylar White, yo. As I feared, pulled them out. They're all... As battlers now, even if I pull up a witness for each individual bit of magic and demand an explanation, he'll probably use some kind of move to deny all of them. Not just the magic with the marshmallow I showed Rosa, but all the miracles of magic. I am serious, but I'm still a clown. But also, it's episode 4. It's not gonna end here, so I'm waiting for the Beatrice rug pull any second now. So I can no longer even claim to be a witch without questioning him about something like how a marshmallow was fixed. I am in such an inferior position that I must fight over such trivialities. It may be impossible for me. I know that. This was to be a game without victory from the very beginning. So it was only natural that the day of my defeat would eventually come. How I fought Battler. Up until today, just to lose to Butler. I began the game thinking I might be able to win. Even if I wouldn't be able to win easily, I believed that in a game repeating endlessly, a miracle would eventually occur. After all, I had certain willpower on my side, and unwavering desire to win with certainty. However, I've now lost that miracle completely. And that certain willpower resides in Butler, leaving me certainly without even a 1 in a million chance of a miracle. No, perhaps I should say, with no miracles or certainty. I would have no victory, and no win through a tie. The only resolution permitted is to continue on resisting until defeat is given to me in this game. That's right, I am fighting only to be killed by Butler. I looked into Butler's eyes. That which was reflected inside them wasn't me. The figure of the little sister waiting for his return and the family he had to bring back were reflected in those eyes. To him, my existence is already not even that of an individual. Obviously. From the very beginning, he has been trying to deny the individual that I am. Yes, that last game sure was fun. I was only tricking him a bit, but for just a short period of time. It feels like we understood each other, and that was fun. That's right. I should have made my move then. I should have continued for eternity with Butler still totally fooled. But that's just no good, right? That just wouldn't be true victory. Is this checkmate? Beatrice? Beato had been run through with several blue stakes skewered over and over to the ground was still standing. Because of that, she wasn't even able to fall over, and still looking up into the sky was sewn in place. That tragic form might have been a fitting end for the cruel witch who had endlessly toyed with 18 people's lives and who had killed constantly for hundreds and thousands of years. Gently, as though someone was mourning over something, rain began to fall. And amid that rain, Beato was soaked and crucified. Is it over, Beato? There was not even a squeak. Not yet. You aren't a woman who will let things end with just this. Don't be ridiculous. How can you look at this and think that it isn't over? Quickly, deliver the final blow. Just say it with your blue truth. Therefore, witches do not exist. Say it. Just say it. With that final blow, just put a stop to my breathing. It's useless. Oh, so you would expose me to even further shame. Isn't it settled already? Stand up. Our brawl still isn't over. Not over, you say? That just now wasn't you losing. You just stopped and give up. Isn't that enough? Wouldn't giving up mean your victory? You should return to your little sister right away. Just throw me away right here. Didn't I tell you? I won't run away. And I won't let you run away. Just who are you? And what in the world is it that you want? If you want to know, why don't you just try your favorite move? What does it matter? Just a delusion. An illusion. Isn't that enough? It's all useless. I won't let you run away. I'll break through you. How could I let you run away like this? I won't let you run back to the darkness of illusions while you're still all hasty like this. I'll break through to you. Completely. So stand up. Don't act all frail like that. You're still hiding several moves. I can tell. Why won't you just let me escape? Dad, Mom, Angie, all the cousins and all the relatives, all the servants. You toyed with them so much and killed them. I definitely won't forgive that inhumanity. I can still feel Angie's arms on my shoulders. I won't forgive your inhumanity, so I won't let you get away like this. Battler's eyes burned with the flames of hatred. The time had long since passed during which pitiful behavior would have earned his compassion. After being tricked once, Battler will never sympathize with me again. Never mind the wolves and sheep puzzle. This is like the boy who cried wolf, isn't it? What am I supposed to do? What should I do? Is fighting endlessly only to avoid admitting defeat a fitting endless torture for the Endless Witch? Is endlessly harassing Battler to avoid giving him victory also part of being the Endless Witch? It's so sad. Is this what the endless magic is? I've had enough of endlessly being toyed with by witches. I've had enough. I will have no victory and no tie. In that case, there's only one result that can release me. Since the time I succumbed to the path of witches, since the day I made that contract with demons, it was promised that I would meet my end through tragedy, was it not? What's wrong, Golden Witch Beatrice? If you are the ruler of Ronkenjima, show me a majesty fitting for that, even at the very end! Lightning. The world was smashed with white, fitting last moments for the ruler of Ronkenjima. Still pierced by the blue stakes, Battle faced the rainy sky and let out a cry of laughter. Then she slowly raised her face and stared at Battler. Fool! Just when I was about to praise your good fight and hand over victory, you shall regret that pride. This isn't something for you to hand over. I'm going to take it from you. The same goes for you, right? You could never accept an easygoing victory where I just say maybe witches' existence isn't so bad. Isn't that the very reason you intentionally fell apart like that at the end last time? That's right, last game you took pity on me just once, didn't you? So now I'll pay back that debt. Stand! My enemy, my Golden Witch Beatrice! You fool! You simpleton! You ignoramus! You think you'll get another chance? When Battle yelled, the blue sticks that had pierced her chest blew to bits and disappeared. However, the blue wedge that had pierced her foot at the very beginning did not vanish. You can't pull it out yet. You can't pull out the blue truth of the 18-person X. I will respond to one thing you told me to repeat. As you resent, Kinso is already dead at the starting time for all games. Ah, really? That's not even like a rage bait red right there. It's just sad. I wanted Kinso to be something. That's no. This is gonna be the only red I don't believe. There's something here. That's so lame. It would just be lame. They would be so unbelievably lame. I cannot think of a satisfying way of this story if Kinso isn't there. Sure, guy who hunts the narrative is fine, but I want him there. Let them cook, right? Let them cook. But I'm sad and extremely beyond disappointed if this is truly the case. I am very disappointed. But we'll see. Let them cook. This is the first time I have not liked a decision of this game truly. But we'll see. Let them cook, right? Let them cook. I know. I'll take back my words eventually. I know. Don't worry. This is not a concrete opinion. For now, I am disappointed because I had high hopes for Kinso. But eventually will come the day where I will go, Ryukishi, you masterful genius, killing Kinso at the start is the best thing you could have done. We wouldn't have gotten such a good story without it. You know, just wait for it. Sigh. However, in that case, all I need to do is take one person out. Thus far, I have been declaring that no more than 18 humans exist on this island. I will lower that by 1 for Kinso. Which to me is already true because of Shannon and Kanon being one person. But to me, that still includes Kinso. So even with this, we're still missing a person. Because of Shannon and Kanon. So in my theorem, Kinso still fits in. I mean, no, like let's go back to episode 1. Back where I said that the Kinso dead body was a body double. But it's still, I believe a red or something said that Kinso was dead? I don't know, something confirmed his death in some way or another. But I still said that it was a body double in the same way that Shannon and Kanon have body doubles because their names don't really belong to them. So maybe Butler was right that the name Kinso does not truly belong to Kinso and he can still be alive. Because that's how I explained episode 1 all that time ago. So it's just bringing back another ancient theory. Anyways, whatever. I'm gonna take this one to the grave. Until credits roll, I will believe that Kinso's alive. I don't care. It's so lame. Lame. No more than 17 humans exist on this island. That excludes any 18th person. In short, this 18th person X does not exist. So to me, right there, you know, I was already going that there were only 17 humans. I was still saying 18 in the case that there was like a real Beatrice going up and about. But clearly I don't think that's the case. So 17 humans. One of those is Sayo, who is both Kanon and Shannon. And I still fit Kinso in those 17. Yeah. Because with 17, that is including Shannon and Kanon. I'm confused because I forgot numbers. All I'm saying is that Kinso still fits into the number because Shannon and Kanon is one person. That is what I'm trying to say. This applies to all games. So Kinso is still not utterly taken out of the chessboard, in my mind. Like if she said, you know, a lower number where I really couldn't fit Kinso in any way, then I'm cooked. But we're still in. What do you know? It looks like you're still hiding some pretty crazy stuff up your sleeve after all. The island, which had no more than 17 humans on it, has been set up to appear as though there were 18. Taking one off makes it 17, so we finally reached the correct number. This way, the witch I've knocked into you has been removed. We'll have to start to fight over back from square one. The blue witch that had sewn Bato in place broke apart. There was no longer anything piercing her. The scars on her body had disappeared completely, and there stood, just as Battler had hoped for, the figure of the majestic golden witch who ruled Ronkinjima. Then come, Battler! Once more from the beginning. Try and break through everything with the blue truth. I too will no longer play, run, or hide. If you are worthless, then I shall end this match right here, right now. With my grand victory, I'll make you regret your refusal to compromise for all eternity. Come, starting from the first game. Right. From the first twilight of the first game, there is nothing strange about the murder of the 6 relatives that were found in the gardening shed in the beginning. The crime was possible for any of those who didn't have an alibi. Valid. Continue. What about the next close room murder with Eva and Hideyoshi? Even the chain was set for that close room. Man, I should have been warned so I could prepare arguments for these. Because yeah, the Eva and Hideyoshi one, I have been lost on since the very beginning. I truly have no answer for that one. That was the one that really stumped me. I want to at least pull a Butler, one that isn't like a true answer to what happened, but just a blue truth, just an X truth. Someone could have been hiding inside, under the bed. That's what I'll say. Person X was hiding under the bed. No, Person X was hiding under bed X. I shall add to the red truth. Both deaths were homicides. It is not the case that after the construction of the locked room, one of them committed suicide and they're murdering the other. Furthermore, the murder was carried out with both the victim and the perpetrator in the same room. No method exists for the perpetrator to commit murder from the outside room. Suppose that the culprit was a human without an alibi. In other words, the dead. Among the first 6 corpses, there was one made unidentifiable because their deaths were smashed. Faces were smashed. One possible theory is that one was actually a fake corpse and that some culprit X killed those 2 after pretending to be a victim and hiding away. Then after the locked room murder was constructed, the culprit hid under the bed and waited for us to leave. Yippee, yippee, yippee. I did a good job as Butler. And I had already been saying since episode 1 that one of the dead bodies were fake. So everything that was said here, I had already said before. Very well. Next! Kanon was killed in the boiler room, correct? I shall add to the red truth. All of the survivors have alibis. Let us include the dead as well. In short, no kind of human or dead person on the island could have killed Kanon. Suicide. I have been calling that one suicide since the very beginning. If no one could kill him, then he might have been the one to kill. Meaning Kanon-kun might have killed himself. Repeat it! Kanon-kun did not commit suicide. I'm scared. Crap! What was our answer for that since the very beginning? Kumasawa was there. Why does Kumasawa have an alibi? Why couldn't it have been Kumasawa? How do the dead have alibis? That's stupid. But again, we are... No, I see what they're doing. They're doing the thing with the Mind Palace. It was not suicide because Sayo is the one who stopped believing in Kanon and thus killed him. So it's not suicide. Ooh. So there you go. That's my answer. One more. Repeat it. Kanon-kun's death was a homicide. I refuse to repeat it. Yep, it was just death by refusal, by neglecting his existence. And Sayo is not counted among those with alibis here because she doesn't really exist in the game. So there you go. Boom, boom, bum, bum, bim, bum, boom, bum. By that refusal, it may be possible to view it as a homicide, but you've already proclaimed it in red that no one could have killed him. In other words, it wasn't a homicide. This is the same as the link closed room from the third game. Kanron-kun died for a reason that was neither suicide nor homicide. Though the circumstances are unclear, he died from an accident. By the devil's proof, I refuse to explain what kind of blunder could have led to an accidental death where a stake was driven into his chest. Oh, now that you have borrowed the power of demons, you are without peer. It is valid. In that case, what about the murders of their dad in the parlor, Genji, Nanjo, and Kumasawa? It's been too long, bro. I don't remember. I did have an answer for this. I deadass forgot. Naturally. Oh, right. It was the one in the... Yeah, okay, I remember now. It was when Maria was singing in the corner all creepily. Maria, who was in the same room, did not kill them. I don't think I ever really made a theory for this one. I just moved on. But I think it's not that hard to explain if, Sayo is still going around. And if Maria says Beatriz killed them, that means that it was Sayo pretending to be Beatriz. And Maria would believe that, so yeah, it was just her. But I'm not sure how we're going to explain that now with the blue. And of course, their deaths were homicides. We can explain it with the one who carried out the murder being a culprit X who used an unidentifiable corpse to disappear. In the first place, their three faces were also pulverized. It's completely possible that one of them was a body double corpse. So yeah, he's the... Oh wait, what's this read? I guarantee the identities of all identified corpses, therefore there was no body double tricks. Which ones are you talking about? The garden shed ones or the parlor ones? Then I can explain it with simultaneous murders. Each of the three had a gun pointed at another in a clockwise pattern, and they blew each other's faces off at the same time. Okay, so she meant the ones in the parlor. So yeah, Sayo is still able to be around, so yeah, whatever. We're good. I have not been defeated yet. After that, Maria collected those guns and hit them. How about that? What? What a ridiculous argument! How amusing! Then what about Natsuhi in the end? I shall add to the red truth. Natsuhi's death was a homicide. There are no corpses of unknown identity, and all of the survivors have alibis. You can explain it with an indirect murder by Trap X. No, to me the answer is still, she literally fought with Beatriz, and Beatriz lives on through Sayo, so it was just Sayo and Natsuhi having a standoff. That's a +1, Ruby. Something was done to Natsuhi's gun. You can explain it if there was a trap gun built to send a bullet right into the forehead of anyone who tried to hold it up and shoot it. The bullet burned into Natsuhi's forehead. It was not fired from Natsuhi's gun. There is a possibility that Aunt Natsui was lured out by the letter of unknown contents, and she was called out into the dining hall. Then she was forced into sent in a specific location at a specific time, and murdered by some Trap X, which used a gun that had been installed there beforehand. Wonderful! These reckless arguments of yours are even starting to feel pleasurable now. Out of respect, I shall hand the first game over to you. Well done! Phew, okay, I survived. I survived episode 1 with an answer for everything. With an answer I am satisfied with for everything. The instant battle acknowledged her defeat in the first game. The stakes of the blue truth once again pierced her chest, letting out a terrible sound. This is still hardly painful, and it's not over yet. Calm now for the second game. Belto just barely pulled out the stakes that had pierced her chest. But even though there was no hole left behind, she still seemed to be bearing a deep wound that was letting out a massive amount of blood. And she was tormented by equally fierce pain. Belto grinning her teeth, and pushed for the next game to start. But I won't feel sympathy for her. Just by her existing there, we've been killed and harassed over and over, and Angie's been burdened with a future of isolation. correct. Just by my being here and laughing, this eternal hell will continue. I won't give you your little sister back. Let her cry over the family that shall not return for the next 1,000 years.
No compassion, no mercy. On to the second game. I'll start with the first crime.
Right after it happened, I penetrated to the truth of the closed room under room murder where the 6 were killed in the chapel. Someone secretly borrowed Maria's key and secretly returned it to Maria's bag after the crime was over. From the time Maria received her key to the instant Rosa unsealed the envelope the next day, the key did not pass into anyone's hands. What? There's a possibility that the door to the chapel had an auto lock just like Bram's study. That's a good answer, and I would not have thought of it. But yeah, that red got her. Because the master keys cannot open the chapel. That one's evil, because I was very proud of figuring that out during episode 2. But fine. Also, reread episode 1 stuff another time, as in their combo about that game here another time. Huh? Reread them talking about episode 1, like what they just finished doing just now? Reread that another time, but reread what they just finished saying. Like the entirety of it. Understood. What are you scheming? In other words, it was unlocked before the crime with a rock or something wedged in so it couldn't close completely. Then they gave the key to Maria. Because the lock was automatic, it is possible to make a theory where the key wasn't needed. No door with an auto lock exists other than Kinzo's study. What? I mean, how stupid do we want to take this? It did not pass into anyone's hands. What if they just used the key from inside the envelope without actually touching it with their hands? This is the Halloween one. Can it be locked from the inside without a key? Because again, it was the episode 2 where there was that weird scene where everyone was acknowledging Beatriz in the chapel. that never got explained. So what if culprit X was inside, or if it was a mass suicide somehow? And it can be locked from the inside without a key. The victims locked the door from the inside. Hey! Thank you, Butler. One of the 6 was a culprit, and the person killed the other 5, then pretended to be dead. The 6 were all already dead by the time they were discovered. All of their deaths were homicides. All 6 were pure victims. They did not take part in mutual murder. There were no simultaneous mutual murders. So, yeah, I did say two things. It was either mass suicide or culprit X was inside. So, no, it's culprit X was inside and locked it from the inside. There existed humans with no alibi at that time, e.g. Kumasawa-san. If we assume that such a person killed the 6 and was hiding inside, then there are no problems. There was no one hiding in the chapel! Oh my gosh! I took so long to think of that. Can I say there's a duplicate key? They shouldn't be allowed, but you just gotta throw everything right now, right? Duplicate key. She specifically said it didn't pass it to anyone's hands. So it's not just like anyone else's hands. I can't say that Maria was the one who locked it and unlocked it for the culprit. Again, I can still say that it was wordplay and it didn't pass into anyone's hands, but it was used from inside the envelope. There was a broken window that nobody noticed. That's all I got for now. Therefore, your killer hiding in the building locked room scenario does not hold. What's wrong? Is that all, Shinomiya Butler? It's not so easy once you get to the second game, right? It was a thundering exchange of red and blue truth. The sticks had wedges of blue truth that I sent flying, attacked one after the other, and Battle cut them all down after another with her red truth. Her red treasured sword knocking them down. But the blood isn't lost from the first game was probably serious. The intense exercise was putting an even greater strain on her. I could also see her breath grow ragged. That's why I can't hold back now. I'll corner that witch. This time I'll break through her! Not yet, it's useless. It's all useless. My twisted logic isn't finished yet. Then what about this? The food they were given had small bombs in it, which exploded from the inside their stomachs. In other words, the crime is possible through Trap X. The details of a bomb that could swallow without noticing and could blow open their stomachs is a devil's proof. I refuse to explain. What the hell is that? Small bombs? But Battle failed to knock down the blue wedge as it flew at an angle like a breaking pitch. If I let out a loud thunk and gouged herself deep into her left shoulder. However, even as the breaking pitch hit her, her laughter didn't seem to be stopping. Yeah, I get it, even I think that theory was pretty screwed up. Laugh as much as you want. Got a problem with that? None! Quite a pleasurable, reckless argument! Next up is a close room with Jessica and Kanon. No problems there. If the culprit was one of the servants, they could have used a master key. I've been forgetting some of these old ones. With Jessica and Kanon? Let me see if I wrote it down somewhere. I don't think so though. I did not. I seriously don't remember this one. But the fact that it involves Kanon is already, mega suspicious. Wait, it's the one where his body went missing. So yeah. Sayo went in, killed Jessica, and left. Yeah. If the culprit was one of the servants, they could have used the master key. It's not even a locked room. After that, there was an attack on the servant room from a mysterious person who seemed to be Kanon, and Nanjo and Kumasawa were killed, right? I had already proclaimed Kanon's death in red before that time. So who was that Kanon? Sayo. If Kanon-kun's death was declared with the red, there's no way he was alive. If therefore there is a chance that it was someone else in a disguise that would make the group that was attacked mistake that person for Kanon-kun. They would never mistakenly think any other person was Kanon! Because, it is Kanon. Kanon has always been Sayo, so that Kanon is still Kanon, even though Kanon was dead. You get it? Then, just like the heredity of Kinso's name, there's a possibility that Kanon's name was inherited by someone. That's also part of it. You could suppose that Kanon-kun was killed at a different person succeeded his name and then that person attacked them. You're halfway there, Battler. A sound like a watermelon being squashed rang out and a blue wedge was buried deep into Battle's left flank. Maybe it hit a bad place and it seemed to be really effective. After leaning over and moaning for a while, she left it off as though trying to make it seem like no big deal. Yeah, I get it. That must have hurt a lot. Once again, you set up some human at the culprit as if it were nothing. You truly are gabbing on about things you've never been able to open your mouth and say on the game board. And yet, it's valid. The reckless argument is pleasurable. Truly pleasurable. This isn't pain, it's pleasure. When Battle howled, the witch that had pierced her was blasted away, but the wound remained and she continued to be tormented by a fierce pain. You ready? I'll keep going. My blue truth for the last murder in the second game, the 3 who died in Natsui's room, should still be valid even with the 18% X denied. Do you have a counter-argument for that in red? If you don't, the second game is all mine too. No, I don't. Fighting over such a trivial matter bores me. I'll give it to you. I'll give you the second game. And for that one, it's the sheep and wolves puzzle that I already talked about enough. Okay. So, episode 2 did not go too well for me. She stumped me a bit, especially with the chapel. I'm a bit stumped on that. The little bombs, come on, right? But I did throw out some other ideas out there, but I'm not satisfied with them. So, I am very satisfied with episode 1. Episode 2, I gotta get some work in there. The instant that she acknowledged her loss in the second game, 2 blue stakes gouged through Battle's chest this time. The witch's lungs were gouged, as were her intestines. Her face twisted in anguish. Her body twisted as she gasped in pain. Does it hurt? Hurt? No, this just tickles. At least compared to you having your entire body torn to bits and turned into a pile of scrap meat like your sister. I'll make you scrap meat too, then you siblings can all be mixed together like ground beef and pork.
I'll beat you to death. I'll tear you to bits the same way. Next, the third game. How long are you gonna sit around all worn out like that? I've only just started knocking you down to hell.
Naturally, as if something like this could wear me down. You're right, we're still just getting started. Come, let us begin the third game, starting with the 6 linked closed rooms. You supposedly did penetrate this closed room at that time, but then you killed off Kinso. At that time, I theorized that Gramps was the culprit, and that after killing the other 5 and stringing the keys across each room, he constructed his own closed room in the boiler room. I did write this one down. Let me read this one again. I won't give too much thought into it, but all that matters is that obviously it's Sayo, right? So when they opened the first door, like it is already suspicious. The first door they opened was to Shannon's death, and the last one was to Kanon's death. So it just means that when they opened the door to the parlor, they saw her dead, and then they closed it. Shannon got out and went into the chapel to be Kanon, and then they saw him there. So that's already, you know, bing boom bam. As for the rest, you know, it's a lot of thinking that, you know, I did the MS Paint for it. It's not correct anymore. But I just know, you know, Shannon being the first door and Kanon being the last door. That's already Seuss. I don't remember if they said they locked the doors after leaving them, but I'm going to say they didn't because I'm saying that Nanjo was part of the plan as well. So when Nanjo went in to check the pulse, quote unquote, and say that she's dead when she wasn't dead, Nanjo also made sure that they wouldn't lock the door when they all left so that Shannon could leave the parlor. Koda did in the third floor waiting room. Genji did in the second room. The problem is, how did she turn into Kanon and then go into the chapel without the key? In the chapel, they found a master key. They found a master key in the chapel. If I still believe that Kinso is still alive, Kinso was the one with the key to the chapel in the boiler room. So while the rest of the family was looking for Kumasawa's, Goda's, and Genji's bodies in the other rooms, Shannon went into the boiler room. No. Wait. Ah, this is messed up. This is so messed up. Wait, let me think about this. This is El Cuco. How? I was gonna say that Kinso had something to do with locking the chapel, but the master key was also in the chapel. So how did Kinso lock the boiler room afterwards? Master keys cannot open the chapel. I think. I could be wrong about that. But the fact that Kanon had a master key in the chapel is Seuss. Seuss. Just a little bit more thinking. I'll continue reading. Just a little bit more thinking. Because there's also the possibility that Nanjo is the one leaving the keys in the rooms, and he was like the one locking them last night. But again, it's been so long, I don't remember if Nanjo had a lullaby, an alibi for the night before. Because I hadn't thought about that, and that's like makes the most sense right now. He had all the keys on him, and every time they opened a door, he left a key in that room for the family to find. which solves everything neatly. But it's somehow disappointing and unsatisfying. Because if I'm already saying that Shannon is not dead, then you need Nanja to be in on the plan to confirm her death while she wasn't dead. Yeah, I'm kind of going towards Nanjo theory now. He goes in, makes sure they don't lock the door to the parlor. Shannon goes out. Let me cook, just wait, let me cook. Just, I don't know, too much thinking, but it makes sense to me if Nanjo was the one leaving the keys behind. At that time, I theorized that Gramps was the culprit and that after killing the other 5 and stringing the keys across the room, he constructed his own closed room in the boiler room. And that there he died in an accident while carrying out some kind of scheme, burning to death in the boiler. But now I declare that Gramps was already dead, so I've denied my own theory myself, ironically enough. However, there's no problem. There are plenty of people who could have committed the crime besides Gramps. You should even claim that the adults who were in the middle of the family conference at that time were all in on it and committed the crime together. All 5 master keys were discovered, each in the pockets of one of the servants. The individual room keys were found inside the envelopes along the culprits. In short, all keys related to the locked rooms were locked inside the locked rooms. No key could have been returned from outside the room using a crack or a door, a crack in a window, a vent, or any place of any sort. Yeah, it don't matter if the guys opening the doors are the ones placing the keys inside. Then they were killed with poison gas. Even if a key couldn't pass through gas. Even if a key couldn't pass through, gas could, right? The murder was carried out from outside the locked room. All of them had fatal wounds that appeared to be gunshot wounds. Murdering them from the outside the room would have been impossible. I shall say more with the red. When the 5 other than Kinso were killed, the killer was already in the same room as them. I already declared in red at that time that there were no suicides. It's odd. Clearly this is not where we're actually solving the murders, right? Because Butler is saying some hooky dooky penis music answers to these. So I'll save the thorough thinking for another time. But the wording is just very weird. Because she's saying in red they were killed. But how does that work for Sayo when Shannon and Kanon, you know? Seuss. After the murder of each person in their respective rooms, the culprit constructed a linked locked room, but there was no way for the culprit to return the key for the last room to the inside of the locked room. But they did manage to return it. The first person to discover the corpse just had to pretend to find the key and pull it out from the corpse's pocket. That's what I said up top, Butler. She couldn't fully block the retort of that blue stake. Battle was pushed back by the blue wedges that were unleashed on her one after another, finally failed to block one, and once again took a severe wound. As she howled in pain, she pulled out the blue wedge that had pierced her right arm. Bato's entire body had been torn apart and pierced with blue wedges, stakes, and blades all over and over again. And now she was totally covered in blood. But even so, Bato grinned, cackling as though this was amusing. How could a man who promised to bring Angie's parents home voice a theory where those parents are culprits? Splendid, even that's just fine, right? Go be a big happy family getting their hands dirty with mass murder, then return to Angie stained with blood that would never come off. How could we expect anything less from the people who return alive from the Witch's Island? Just what that mincemeat Angie needs.
Shut up! I'll kill you. I'll tear you apart. No need to waste your time begging for your life. I'll definitely give you the worst kind of death by my own hands.
Yes, you probably could do it. I explored the depths of cruelty for over 1,000 years, and you probably will gift me with a fitting end for all that. Oh, does that hurt? Is it harsh, or does it still tickle? Is this supposed to torment me? Come on, we shouldn't be a battler. There are still mysteries left. Although I had already counted my first power from the 18% X by making the number of people on the island 17. By just limiting the number of people to 17 didn't overturn the theory that Aunt Eva was the culprit. I can crush most of the murders in the third game this way. But I don't believe she was. Not anymore. Blood dripped from all over the body of the Golden Witch. I cornered her, this time thoroughly without mercy. This isn't a game played to decide who wins and who loses. Yeah, we aren't playing. Even the time I spent playing and fighting like this delays my trip home. In her isolation, Angie will continue to have her heart torn apart by loneliness and sadness. I have to go back to Angie as fast as I can. You're all worn out. Standing at death's door, are you? It still doesn't burden me. Something like this. It tickles. It looks like you don't need any mercy. I never asked for it in the first place. I'm going all out. Do so. When our roles were reversed, I showed no mercy, so you ought to do the same when given the chance. Otherwise, I'll summon another isolated Angie from a different world, and this time I'll tear off her arms and legs, stick her with a spear and roast her, okay?
Shut up! Never again! Not my family, not my relatives, not any of the servants! I won't let you make them your playthings! I've already broken through all of the mysteries in the fourth game with the blue truth. The only one left is the very last one from the third game, only the murder of Dr. Nanjo. Which I've explained with Sayo very easily. Oh, have I already been cornered so far? What a precarious state I'm in. She coughed violently, spitting up blood. Her insides had been punched through so many times, it was only natural. In other words, the mystery of Dr. Nanjo's murder is the last line of defense for you being a witch, right? As you say, if you defeat that, it will mean that all of my mysteries have been defeated unless I counter one of your truths with some new red truth or present a new mystery. I will die. You don't look like someone who's been pushed into a corner standing on the brink. You still have some kind of hidden pitch up your sleeve, right? Well, who knows? I have already tired of the too long life after 1,000 years. I've started to think that having this life ended by a rival like you, whom I stumbled upon at the very end, might not be so bad. You can do it, can't you? Do it. I beg you, kill me. I'm always the one killing, and I've never had the experience of being killed. I've killed the 18 of you hundreds of times, but I haven't been killed myself even once, so I wanted to experience it just once myself. It was a graceless show of boldness unchanged from before. But blood dripped from her mouth, but her once beautiful dress was covered with holes, and blood poured from all over her body, making her physical appearance
stand in sharp contrast to her attitude. Maybe the shot she'd take to the flank was still tormenting her, and she was still pressing down on it unconsciously, without a trace of grace. But I've got no time for pity. As long as I feel sympathy for this witch, my family and I won't be released from this place. Until I defeat her, we won't be able to go home. In the outside world, it may be possible for even enemies to understand each other when circumstances change. But pure evil does exist. Evil that brings misfortune just by existing is to be spared no compromise. Just by its continued existence alone, it's evil. I won't pity you, just like you didn't show any pity for any of us. Well, of course. All of you are just pieces in the game. It's just unbelievably fun to think about which 6 to kill in the beginning, not to kill the next 2, and whether I can find a much more gruesome method of murder, you see. Hey Battler, I reform a little, so forgive me this time too. If you do, I'll change my methods of killing to something a little better, okay? I'll listen to how you want them to be killed and in what order, got it? It's so fun toying with people's lives. I'm sure you could think of a way to turn Angie into a pile of scrap meat much more thoroughly. Come, Battler, try to expose the truth of Nanjo's murder. The 18% X has been defeated, but I won't give in. I'll stop that witch's breathing cold. The end of the third game. It was announced in red that the survivors at that point in time, Butler, Eva, Jessica, and Nanjo were all uninvolved with Nanjo's murder, and it was also proclaimed that he was murdered directly by someone before his eyes. All the other people had the strongest possible alibi by having their deaths proclaimed in red. I'll break through this without saying the 18% X. Think! Don't stop thinking! Her red doesn't only bind me, it's also supposed to be her weak point. I've got to somehow use it against her. That's right. There's still a gap. Yeah, this way, I can break through it. This way, Beatrice's legend of the witch is finished! True, the others probably were dead. However, the time at which their deaths were declared in red was not the instant Dr. Nanjo died. Strictly speaking, it was in the fight between me and Eva and Dr. Nanjo's corpse was found. In other words, if someone who was alive at that time that Dr. Nanjo was killed died before Eva proclaimed that death, you can sew right through that crack. In other words, it's like this. The culprit was among those people who were not confirmed dead prior to Eva's declaration of the deaths, and the person had managed to skillfully play dead in the beginning and wait for us to leave them alone. They made us think that they had died while their deaths still hadn't been declared in red, and then they killed Dr. Nanjo, and after that they died for some reason. Then after that, Eva declared their deaths in red. That theory can explain Dr. Nanjo's murder. Died for some reason. How's that, Beatrice? When he forcefully asked that question, there was a terrible sound that could only be linked to that of a compressor, and a blue stake that was as thick as a log appeared from under the earth and skewered the Golden Witch Battle, pulling her up into the air. Ugly, tearing sounds rang out, and each time a blue stake or wedge would appear and pierce Beatrice's body. Even that finally ended. Her tragic form was exposed there, pin-cushioned by more than 10 stakes and wedges all over her body and dripping with blood, dangling and crucified. Wow! Wicked! Oh, that's so cool looking! That's wonderful! There was none of the dignity of the brutal witch who had sneered at the honor of the dead and toyed with and killed hundreds of the living. The rain, which had started falling at some point, quietly tormented the crucified witch. As Butler heaved with his breathing, he waited for some kind of answer from the Golden Witch. Although it wasn't long, it took the witch a bit of time to show any signs of life. It hurts. It hurts. You got what you deserved. Now you can experience a portion of the pain felt by all those you've killed. Even as he said this, it seemed Butler had lost a little of his momentum at the extremely pathetic sight. Even if it was an enemy, he couldn't look straight at the woman exposed in such a brutal fashion. But even so, unless he destroys Beatrice, this battle wouldn't end. Butler, I beg you. Huh? Battle let out a sob. It hurts. It really hurts. And it. End it. Even with this, I still can't die. Even though it hurts so much, I still can't die. What are you asking of me? End it. Release me from this pain. Balto's expression was soaked with blood and tears. Butler certainly had been tricked by her at one point, so he was probably able to suspect that her expression, that even her tears were an act. However, Butler believed in those tears. After all, those tears had the red of truth mixed with them. What should I do? What can I do to end your pain? I'm going to expose everything. This is my heart. Your heart. Kill me. Battle. Kill me. Just let me die. Were those tears from pain and torment or else? Either way, that pathetic expression was painful for battlers to look at, even after burning with such anger. Quickly, go back to Angie. I'll listen to your request. Not so that I can go back, but to end your pain. Then... Butler... In her last breath, Battle summoned up all of her remaining strength and managed to close both of her hands into fists. A red light began to gather at those fists. Then she lifted her arms, as though appealing to the heavens for something. You'll be able to kill me. All of me. My heart. Crush it. Pierce it. Okay? The red light around both her arms gradually began to strengthen. After saying that much, her face melted to the side of it. Then her right arm lost its light and flopped down. But her left arm alone did not lose its light. It remained held down towards the heavens. Then, before Butler's eyes, another Bato appeared with a faint form transparent like a curtain. The crucified Bato had already lost consciousness. However, the newly appeared faint Bato quietly looked at me, her eyes expressionless, and spoke. Ushiramiya Butler, I will now kill you. And right now, there is no one other than you on this island. The only one alive on this island is you. Nothing outside the island can interfere. So that's already weird, right? Because we know Eva is alive. They better not say that she wasn't, okay? So, this is either a red for only this episode, or she's speaking in, like, from a future perspective, after Eva left and he is the only one on the island now. Either way, both answers are satisfying to me. Just don't be saying that Eva's not alive. I understand. This is the last mystery, Beatrice will be able to make us a witch. She's trying to offer it to me. Entering me to solve this final mystery. Entreating me to solve this final mystery. And kill her. Do it. I'll accept your final mystery. You are all alone in this island. And of course, I am not you. Yet I am here now, and I'm about to kill you. Like a souped up version of the mystery of Dr. Nanjo's murder. So, who am I? Is that your final question? Who am I? The battery slowly approached me and the expression look. Yeah, I get it, Bato. I'll kill you, don't worry. I also slowly held her head. Then I, as a piece, left the game board. I'm not the one continuing the text. That was fast. That was so fast. I'm not happy either. That was buns. But it was interesting. It wasn't bad. It just did not give me the answers I wanted at all. How long is the next tea party? Okay, cool. Let's do it then. Also, I know I'm not gonna get answers. I'm just saying that the fact that it's basically just a fake ending, so it just feels disappointing even if it wasn't meant to give me answers. I know. It's just, it was structured like things were getting solved, but I got nothing out of it. It just felt like it was set up for the next arc. All the other endings of the other episodes let me flabbergasted. This one just let me, like, huh. You're officially washed. I'm sorry. I can... to finish off my washing, I can officially say episode 4 is my least favorite episode so far. It's the only time I've said to an episode, yeah, that was alright. The other ones are peak. Well, yeah, episode 4 has... It's curious. It's curious. That's all. What? Fragment number yada 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 yada. Understood Sims, by the way. Scattered over the bigger bed were cute jelly beans of various colors and chocolate coins. Ramda Delta. A fork was stuck into a shortcake peeking out of the gift box, and there were decanters with drinks of various colors lined up on the side table. But the color of the partially finished drink that had been poured into a cup was venomous, matching none of the decanters. Someone had probably been playing around, mixing various things together. That can be lots of fun if you don't mind the taste. On top of the fluffy bed with several colorful big pillows that sometimes from a dream. Lesbians? And on top of the bed that looked like something out of a child's dream world, Veronica still lay face down. And Lambda Delta lay face up, clutching a pillow and relaxing.
It was pretty thrilling this time, wasn't it? I got really panicky when Battle said she stopped the game.
What a rude witch to start a game like this and try to end it by throwing it away.
Wasn't Angie a good piece? After Battle ran for it, Angie dragged her back and made her resume the game. Although it's a shame that she gave Battler a little too much enthusiasm.
After all, I knew Butler was a softie.
No kidding. He looked like he might even go easy on Battle, his enemy.
I was uneasy that, like the last game, he might actually feel compassion for Battle and take the game in a weird direction. Angie was a trump card to get Butler back on track when he mistook his goal. Although I wanted her to support him a bit more before using her up. She really did get used right off the bat. What a waste for a piece that required so much preparation.
Good thing I shackled her with that rule about not giving her name. If that hadn't been set up, the brother-sister tag team would have swallowed Battle up and used in the blink of an eye, and won in the blink of an eye.
I thought there'd be a chance for them to press her all at once, but your mark was so restrictive that I couldn't make the best use of her. What a waste that piece was.
Isn't it obvious that such an unfair piece would have to be retired away? Well, in that case, she did a good job of preventing the suspension of the game, and that helps me out too. That way, she made both of our interests matches what made her a truly wonderful piece.
She was an innocent kid like Butler. It was easy to get her to do as I said. Morons and impulsive types make the best pieces. I really can't stand losing that piece.
Like now, that kid's mincemeat. Hey, let's make a hamburger out of her later on. Oh wait, don't you like gyoza more? I wonder what little sisters taste like. Hilarious.
Is it really okay for you to be so relaxed? Thanks to Angie, Butler has gotten all fired up. I'm pretty sure he started a hot pursuit battle, making this game make a big turn in my favor, right? I mean, didn't Butler just solve almost all the mysteries up until now?
Huh? Not even close! Almost all of Battler's blue truths were wrong! Battle's lukewarm red is full of holes. If she had any brains in her, she slipped through it easily by setting up a suitable web of twisted logic. Yeah, it really ticks me off. If it were me, I'd thoroughly cut down all of it with the red.
Oh, really? And I was sure that those were all correct. Well, I don't know about the small bomb part though.
None of Battler's blue truths were valid. When talking about the first game, Battle clearly declared that she guaranteed the identity of all unidentified corpses. I was
I remember when she said that, I was like, huh? Because she didn't about the gardening shed once, but I just thought that she was just talking about the parlor specifically. But yeah. But what does that change? It doesn't. It just helps me by saying that Shannon wasn't really dead in the gardening shed.
This defeats Butler's theory about the culprit of Eva Hideyoshi Close's murder being someone who faked up a corpse.
That was also the one that I wasn't very too happy about, but I think it makes sense. I think it still checks out. It still checks out to me.
Next, Canon might have died in an accident in the boiler room, but...
Oh my gosh, thank goodness I didn't have to reread then. Yeah, because I already caught that. It's just I had to make something for the second murder because I'm lost on the second murder. That one still got me stumped. But I can still see how it checks out because, you know, the whole Shannon not actually being a person, you know, yada yada yada. So yeah, if I reread, I would have been so confused.
Next, Canon might have died in an accident at the boiler room, but... What kind of accident could drive a stake into his chest? Are you a moron? How slice it with a red treasure sword thing? Canon did not die in an accident. For the next one, the murders of the three, including Genji and the parlor, the thought that it was a simultaneous murder where they shot each other in the clockwork pattern at the same time is laughable. Genji, Kumasawa, and Nanjo were not killers.
I already knew that.
The final trap X to kill Natsuhi was also ridiculous. The thing that shot Natsuhi wasn't a trap, it was a real shooting under murder with a gun raised and trigger pulled.
I also knew that.
Sucks for you.
You shouldn't do that. Saying things like that in red. The kid's trying to say that you bounced Natsuhi's bullet back with magic and killed her.
Oh my, how terrible, but you're right. Even the blue truth for the second game was way too naive. When the six were murdered in the chapel, the culprit was inside the chapel.
Ah! Brother! So I was right! And she... I'm going to kill Beatriz. I was right and she tricked me. How did she trick me? Okay, so I was right. Oh my gosh. Unless Lambda about to ruin it again for me.
That guy keeps trying to explain things using Trap X. What the heck is Trap X? Some weird mystery novel cliche? It's also laughable to say in the case where Nanjo and Kumasawa were killed in the... Wait, no, let me go back. Did I read that right? Did she really just say that? When the six were murdered in the chapel, the culprit was inside the chapel, so I was right. Okay. I was right. How did... Is the Reds updated, Ruby? How did I get tricked? I was right. So, yeah, okay. No, crap! I wanted to go over that. Okay, Cora's inside the chapel. So messed up, I feel so dumb. How could I get tricked? That's why I want to see how I got tricked. And I'm misreading that. When the six were killed and murdered in the chapel, the culprit was inside the chapel. Okay, so I could be misreading this. It's saying that that the culprit was inside the chapel when they were killed, but not necessarily that the culprit was inside when the chapel was opened. So I can still get punked, I can still get bamboozled. But for now I'm going to assume that it also means that they were inside when the chapel was opened. So it could have been locked from the inside. Okay. Cool. This is the worst moment in my life. I hate Lambda Delta. I feel like a tomfool
How could I have gotten trolled by Beatrice?
It's also laughable to say, in the case where Nanjo and Kumasawa were killed in the servant room, someone else inherited Kanon's name. The only one who can go by the name of Kanon is the person himself!
That also changes nothing. That still serves my theory, so we're good, we're good.
No other human can adapt that name.
What that does kill is my theory that there was once a real Kanon, once upon a time. But I had already thrown that out anyways, it don't matter. So yeah, it just means that the figmented creation inside Sayo's head of Kanon is the only Kanon, and that figmented creation is the only thing that can use the Kanon name. Hate Lambda, I hate you! Whatever.
And the theory of borrowing the master key from Rosa and Natsuhi's room is also worthless. After the master keys came into Rosa's control, never did any of them leave their hands.
What was this about? What murder is this about? After the master keys came into Rosa's control, never did. I don't think I ever said otherwise. I forgot anything. It's called, I don't know why I'm even playing this game. Yeah, it's because I forget, because I don't think I ever gave it importance. Like, the Master Keys never left Rosa's control. Cool, I never insinuated that they did. So I never thought about this. I think, maybe, perhaps, I don't know, who am I? Anyways, I don't think this changes anything.
Except for the time where she lent one to Battler to unlock Natsui's room.
Oh, this is the one. Yeah, okay, no. This is the Wolves and Sheep puzzle with Goda and Shannon with George. Yeah, of course I never insinuated this. I never ever thought that a master key was needed there, because I said that they all killed each other inside the room. Goda and Shannon killed George, and then Shannon killed Goda, and then Shannon killed herself. Yeah, we're good. That's why I forgot.
I could keep going on, but just taking a quick look at them turns out like this, get it?
Forget taking a quick look. You're just denied Battler's Blue Truth for the first and second games across the board. My, what a shame. If Battler heard, he'll faint.
Right? Bethel wasn't concerned at all. Looks like that kid's a pretty good actress after all. I'm sure she planned to make it look like she was getting cornered this game. And then sometime next game, bang, she'll slice it up with a single red stroke to make Battler freak. And then I'm sure she'll say it again with a huge smile, which is never get into a pinch.
Then what, then that whole tragic atmosphere as though Berta was getting cornered was alright?
Isn't it obvious? She really is a great actress, even though she wasn't even cornered at all. It felt like an astonishing last episode climax. She's totally the winner for the best supporting actress this year. Oh, but of course I'm the star. You do fine too, Bern.
At the end, she said something like this: "Kill me," and laid out a big riddle. Wasn't that her last stand with Bato to be finished for good, if that riddle was wrong?
Come on, were you seriously tricked too, Bern? That wasn't even close to a last stand. Bato's still holding back a killer hidden move when she stuck out both hands to give the final riddle. Did you notice how she lowered just her right hand?
Yeah, now that you mention it. Is that what that meant?
Sure is! That kid had plenty of hidden moves left, and none of the mysteries have been solved! The tension like she's been exposed in the next episode would be the last.
So why am I getting yelled at? I feel disappointed by the ending because it was meant to be disappointing. Unless it is also just another meta... it was meant to be the last, and Beatrice really did give up, and Lambda Delta's a stupid head, and she interpreted it wrong. Anyways, don't answer, I don't want to hear anything from you.
She truly is a genius at acting. Yeah, I want to see her knock Battler down to the very bottom right away. That kid's been totally encouraged with her North Wind in the Sun strategy from last time, right? I'm sure Battler will sympathize with Battler again and fall for it completely. Good, we don't want you either. We don't want to hear from you anymore anyway. After all, a single tear-roll woman can fool a man totally comical and profitable.
I wonder if Butler will get caught by the same move again. I've got to spur him on so he never falls sympathy again. Although Angie's mincemeat seems to have done that pretty well.
A power-up from an Angie-flavored hamburger? Oh, of course I won't lose either. Starting here, I'll thoroughly support Battle to rally her up enough to compete with Battler. Battle won't lose. I mean, I'm threatening her with a wonderful punishment game if she loses.
Your punishment games are seriously not cool, so you should go a little easy on her.
I've decided what to do for your next punishment game, Button. Wanna hear?
No.
Come on, ask me! Guess what? I'll lock you in a wonderful castle. That castle will be surrounded by pure white castle walls of 12 kilometers to suicide with a height of 10 meters. Magic and tricks are prohibited. You really couldn't jump over that, right?
1,440,000,000 cubic meters. You can stop there. I already know what you're going to say.
And that place would start getting buried with gems I won every day. I'll lock you in and until the castle walls are packed with them and you've been buried to death with gems. Isn't that a wonderful romantic punishment game?
Couldn't she just use the gems to climb up off the wall?
If you multiply the length of the walls by 5 and make it 1/10 its current height, I wouldn't mind if you shot me in right now.
Really? That would make it 3,600,000,000 cubic meters, right? That time period for the punishment game would make more than double, right? He'll be my prisoner for such a long time. I love you, Baron. I really love you.
Landadetta playfully approached Baron Castell, who yawned, looking bored as she touched the bottom of Landadetta's chin as though cuddling a cat.
You're betting on Butler's victory. And I'm betting on an eternal tie for the two of them. Doesn't that mean no one's betting on Battle's victory?
I wouldn't. Her chances of winning are 0.
Oh! How truly pitiful being told by the Witch of Miracles that there's no chance of a miracle. Although I wouldn't bet on her either, right? I can say that with certainty.
It's also pretty sad when the Witch of Certainty says that you're certainly screwed.
Unusually for them, they giggle together.
I wonder how this game will resolve itself.
Yeah, that's the one thing we can't predict. That's why it's fun.
I won't permit escaping or suspensions any longer. I'll certainly make them continue their game and I won't let them run away. Even though I can't even imagine what will happen next, I know it certainly won't end that way.
At the very least, it won't end with Battle's victory.
I mean, think about it. Neither of us is betting on Battle's victory. In other words, if it looks like Battle is going to win, she'll have us two great witches and enemies.
Exactly. Our power are most in equilibrium when balancing between a tie and Battler's advantage. If it tips too much in Battle's favor, both of us will line up along this same vector and drag Battle back.
In other words, the instant Battle's in a superior position, she'll have to deal with both of us as enemies. A common front with Burn sounds fun!
Thanks. But I'm not going into a competitive debate with you.
Oh, and I was going to cover you with melted marshmallows while taking a competitive shower.
How pitiful. The child is a living toy, a doll you cut so you could play with me, Lambda.
I'm good at playing with dolls. I really can do it well, okay? I'm proud of being able to play with a single toy for hundreds of years without getting tired of it.
You're her ally at sometimes and oppose her at others. Toying with her for all eternity. How pitiful. That kid is now our doll.
That's right. That kid is our doll. No end has been prepared for that kid except the two of us, Messiah. In other words, I can say for sure that this can only end by repeating a tie for eternity because of me. Or else would battle losing and being destroyed because of you, Burn. As far as this game ended with Battle's victory goes...
I will proclaim it as the Witch of Miracles.
Then I will proclaim it as the Witch of Certainty. Battle certainly
Cannot win. And a miracle
certainly would not.
occur.
Ew. I like that. I like that a lot. That was neat. That was very neat. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting indeed. It was okay, I guess. That means the game's telling you it actually starts now. Alright, chieftains, we gotta have a talk. Y'all gotta get used to that, alright? This is what you're getting a taste of what I was worried about long ago. When I said, when I get headcanons and my own interpretations into my head, I end up believing them so much that whenever I'm told otherwise, it doesn't apply here. Okay, whatever, you get it now. Once the game ends and I call the ending of the entire game buns, you were warned. Once the game ends with Kinsol really being dead the whole time, whole game's gonna be called buns, and I'm not gonna cry at the ending. I'm gonna be, yeah, it was okay at the ending, and that's it. You've been warned. Headcanon or like cannon head, if you know what I mean. I don't. I'm checking Rosaland. I don't think so. You should all be... You're chatters. You're nothing but chatters. You should chat and say, compliment me. And that's all. That's all you should all do. It's like a magic. That's all. Remember that. That there's still a chance I could end the game. I believe in magic. I'm planning on it, so be prepared. So here we are. Episode 6, save me. Save me, episode 6. You have been all warned. We made it, didn't we? Well, everything happens, all it's worth it in the end. Don't worry, I can hear it through the credit song. Yes! Yes! The best part of playing this Buns game. It's alright. I wanted it to be more gruesome. That's alright. Wait, credits are ending. Let's see if anything happens. I will not check the other episodes menu. Oh, I'm gonna run over. Whoa! What was? I guess it's because the ending of the question arc. This is cool. 3 credits in a row. Yes, dude. You made Yules typing caps a lot of times. What did I don't even know what I did. What did I say so wrong? What was the yelling because I got a mystery wrong? Or was the yelling because of my thoughts on the episode and how I feel and not because of the mysteries? Or are we getting angry because I missed something obvious and I got something wrong or I said something preposterous like the little bombs? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I said so many answers to so many mysteries. It wouldn't narrow it down at all if you said, yeah, you got something wrong. It could have been one out of millions of things. I think you can. I think you're all afraid. You're all afraid. That's all. Special thanks to Ryu Kishio 7. It's okay, Umiko. Well, that's quite pretty. I'm not clicking nothing. We're at. Let's check Rosaline and that's it. That's so cool. That's more like it. That is awesome. Cool. Ooh, she's so pretty. It's cool. The paneling is so well done. Wonderful. Oh! Ooh! Ah! E! That's good. That's good. This will be your food tomorrow. What? What did I please? Please, what? Tell me, please. Please. What? What did I do? What did I do? Please. I did it! I feel good about my answers. So what went wrong? But I will say that at least should put me full and you at ease is that we are nowhere than is it? We already read the crap, so let us enjoy the process. It is for... So it was a mystery! So it was a mystery thing I missed! Ah! Okay. Okay. So it wasn't a mystery. Okay. It don't matter what you said. Your words are hollow. It doesn't. Never post a video again. You all know how much it torments me to know that I'm wrong about something. I need to trick my mind into thinking that it's only about an opinion of the episode. And that's all you're all freaking out about. And not that I missed something. I failed. I know it. I've done worse than anyone has ever done before, and it's all over. And the answer arc is gonna show everything I've done wrong. I've did worse than Sam's buddy. You can't try to mitigate it me anymore. I failed. I got everything wrong. Nanjo is the culprit, and I couldn't see it. Where did I go wrong? I'm thinking. You don't know how they treat me. I can't even talk without saying that I should shut up because I'm a fist range. It can't get worse, alright? It's already bad. It's already bad. What went wrong? I mean, the only conclusion that can be drawn is the major thing I'm hinging on the entire time. There's two things I'm hinging on with no actual evidence for them. So it has to be those two things that are completely wrong. A, that Kinso is alive. He is not. It is copium. But I still hang on to it. And two, that Shannon and Kanon are one person. That's also completely wrong. But I see now. Because every answer to every mystery hinges on that, basically. And I haven't made the effort of creating a backup answer in case, in the likelihood that Shannon and Kanon are not the same person. Which I should be doing. I need to make two answers in case Shannon and Kanon are not one person. So that, you know, when inevitably it gets shown that they are two different people, I still have an answer prepared and everything doesn't just get destroyed. I see now. I understand. I mean, I've been so adamant on that, right? Every answer to every mystery has been, oh, it's because Sayo this and Sayo that. So, it makes sense why it would be so infuriating. Because every answer hinges on a wrong statement. I get it now. But the only other answers to start blaming Eva and Rosa for the murders, like episode 3 and 2, I guess there's no reason not to, but it just doesn't feel satisfying to me. But I need to have a backup answer. Using ghost word, you really got my balls here, bro. You're the ones tormenting me. I won't be able to sleep. Tonight. I'm gonna be punching the air. I need to wake up early for the Nintendo Direct tomorrow. They're going to announce Deltarune Chapter 5 tomorrow at like 8 a.m. and I'm gonna be sleeping because I couldn't sleep tonight because of y'all. Playing the victim. I would have been happy. I would have been completely happy if y'all didn't start yapping about, oh, this guy got all the questions wrong. Oh, he's so stupid. I've never seen anyone do it worse. I'm literally not playing Umineko until August, okay? Alright, I'll put you at ease then without saying anything. I mean, I came to the conclusion. It can only be that. It can only be that. I too would be frustrated if someone was playing a game I like and they came to this outrageous conclusion, and then they use that outrageous conclusion as the answer for everything, thus annihilating their ability to actually solve anything because they're going off of something completely fictitious. Hopefully by the time I next stream, I'll get a second answer to every mystery that does not involve Sayo being a makeup artist and a disguiser. Ever since episode 1, I've been saying you are Ryukishi's ideal reader, and I still hold the statement true after today. It will, however, be put at test going forward. We can't really be judging you because of the way the novel is constructed. It literally says questions and answers. It's a good message, but it did not put me at ease. It just gave me more pressure. So I'm stupid. I'm stupid and useless. I get it. Thanks. I wouldn't be able to solve the Death Note mystery. That is the most reassuring thing I've heard so far. I wanted to say something else, I forgot. Alright, I'll let both of you finish typing, and then I'll say one last statement, and then I'm out. I do need to sleep for the Nintendo Direct. You even made the small buns. Wait, did I really? I just be saying things. I don't even remember that I said that. I'm gonna pee myself. Oh my gosh, I did it! No, I remember, yeah, I said that they all put little bombs in their mouths to explode. I do remember that. You really can't. I don't know what I'm feeling right now. It's something. I'm feeling something. That's hilarious. I said tiny bombs. Whatever. I wanted to. I'm sorry. We'll see about that. We'll see. Alright. All part of the plan. This game sucks. Buns. So yeah, Winter Silver. You're also sauce just instead of an everything Vego. It's like on like a Please, wrap it up, all of you, wrap it up. I want to say my closing statement and get out of here. Wrap it up, no more. Whatever. You were typing, Phoenix. Finish it. I don't want any of y'all either. There we go, I muted the channel. I won't be back after I end stream. I never finished typing, so bro never end stream. Freeze. I want to say my closing statement, then talk, as a kid. No. I want it like Danganronpa. I want everything to be done before I give my closing statement. That gif. Okay, there's not. Okay, I know Sam's is doing a bit, and okay, I think both of them are doing a bit. I'm gonna talk. And I want you to okay, that's a Homestuck reference. Okay, let me give my statement. So, I forgot my statement because it took so long. What was it? Oh, okay, I remember. Okay, whatever. Statement, closing statement. So, okay. It's not even a big deal. It's not even a big deal. It's not even a big deal. It's not really a statement. I just wanted to say something. I guess it's a statement, but it's more like an order. It's an order and a question. Ruby, hurry up in that letter. I'm not streaming until I get the letter. That's not like a threat. That's not like a threat or a like, oh, you better finish it, or no. I just seriously would rather read it first before starting Answers Arc. And second, my question is, a while ago, I'm assuming it's going to be included in the letter. So if it's included in the letter, you don't gotta answer now. Just say included in the letter. But a while ago, I was talking about how I wanted to make an actual timeline of all the events and all the actual answers to the mysteries, my answers. And you said, just wait to do that. Stop typing, I'm looking at the chat. Just wait to do that. So my question is, can I start doing that now? Is now the time to start making a timeline and trying to give my answers to every mystery? Or do I still have to wait more? Or at least wait until the letter? Or wait beyond the letter? I'm reading the server now. I'm turning around. Wait for the letter for that. Okay. That was my closing statement. There was an order and a question. Thank you. Okay.
Real thinks he's getting a letter. Okay.
Goodbye, all. Good night. No stream for a while. Good night.